Lily Fletcher knew her brothers had already decided what she was worth when Travis slid the photograph across the executor's conference table. It showed Fletcher ice-cold rooms at 47 Canal Street in Glens Falls. The brick walls were stained black near the roof. Weeds stood waist-high beside the loading dock. Plywood covered 3 windows, and one corner of the gutter hung loose like a bent arm. Travis tapped the photograph with one finger. "You always liked the place." Lily looked at him. "When I was 10. You still liked it." "I like going there with Grandpa, that's what I mean." It wasn't what he meant, and everyone at the table knew it. Their grandfather, James Fletcher, had been dead for 4 months. He was 81 when his heart stopped in the kitchen of the house where the 3 of them had spent most Sunday afternoons growing up. The house had been sold to cover medical bills, taxes, and the remaining debts of the estate. What remained were 2 occupied rental houses and the old ice plant. The rentals brought in money every month. The plant brought property taxes, utility bills, and warnings from an insurance company that didn't like its roof. Travis, who was 32, had made a neat stack of papers beside his coffee. He wanted the larger rental on Pine Street. Joshua, 28, wanted the smaller one near the college. They had spent 3 weeks describing this as the sensible division. Lily had spent those same weeks listening. The executor sat at the end of the table with the distribution deed in front of him. He had already explained that all 3 grandchildren needed to agree. Lily understood enough to know she could refuse. She also understood that refusing would keep the estate open, keep the bills running, and probably turn every family phone call into another meeting. Joshua rubbed his thumb along the edge of his folder. He had been quiet since Lily arrived. "The Canal Street estimate includes demolition," he said. "That's important." "What estimate?" Lily asked. "The rough one," Travis said. She kept looking at Joshua. "How much?" Joshua opened the folder. "They said it could be anywhere from 70,000 to twice that. Depends on what's inside the walls and under the floor." Travis leaned back. "Which is why we found a salvage company willing to take it. They're willing to buy it. They'll clear the usable equipment and knock down the building. Once the costs are settled, there might be a little left." "How little?" Travis picked up his coffee, though the cup was empty. "We don't have a final number." Lily looked at the executor. "Has anyone appraised the machinery?" "The real estate was assessed," he said carefully. "There hasn't been an industrial systems appraisal." Travis's mouth tightened. He had wanted the papers signed that morning, not another question added to the room. "The machinery hasn't run since Grandpa shut the business," he said. "It's old steel and pipes." "Then why does the plant still have an electric bill?" Joshua finally looked at her. "Standby charges, probably. That place is full of old services nobody disconnected properly." "Probably?" "Lily, that's exactly the problem. Nobody knows what's live. Nobody knows what might leak. The longer it sits, the worse it gets." Joshua believed this. Fear had always made him sound certain. Travis wanted income, but Joshua wanted closed doors, canceled accounts, and no envelope arriving with his name on it. Lily turned the photograph around. A faded sign still crossed the brick above the loading doors. Fletcher Ice, cold rooms. She remembered James lifting her onto a wooden crate so she could reach the handle of an old compressor switch. He had kept his hand over hers and told her not to touch anything unless she understood what it fed. She hadn't thought about that in years. "What do the rentals bring in?" she asked. Travis glanced at the executor. "That's all in the paperwork. I'm asking you, Pine Street clears around $1,400 a month after expenses. Joshua's place clears less, and the plant costs money every month." "Yes. So you each get a house with tenants, and I get the bill." Travis lowered his voice, which was what he did when he wanted cruelty to sound reasonable. "You're 22. You don't have a mortgage or a family depending on you. You can take more risk than we can." Lily stared at him. There were many things she might have said. She could have pointed out that Travis had changed apartments twice because he disliked the neighbors. She could have reminded Joshua that he had called the plant dangerous before anyone offered it to him. She could have asked why being the youngest made her losses easier to carry. Instead, she said, "Why didn't either of you want it?" Travis spread his hands. "Because it needs somebody who cares about it." That one landed exactly where he intended. James had taken Lily to the plant more often than her brothers, not because she understood machinery, she hadn't. She liked the cold rooms, the red-handled valves, and the smell of metal and damp concrete. She liked how her grandfather became patient there. After commercial ice production stopped, he still went to Canal Street. He called those trips his rounds. Lily assumed he was checking for broken windows or trespassers. Travis called it an old man refusing to let go. Joshua worried every trip would end with James hurt under a pipe. None of them had asked what he did inside. The executor turned the deed toward Lily. "You can take additional time," he said. "No one can require you to sign today." Travis sighed. "But we have another month of estate expenses if she doesn't." "I didn't ask you," Lily said. Silence settled over the table. Joshua studied the carpet. Travis looked offended, though he had interrupted her all morning. The executor pointed to 3 marked lines. The deed records the agreed distribution. Pine Street to Travis, Warren Street to Joshua, the Canal Street parcel, building, fixtures, and existing service obligations to Lily. Existing service obligations, Lily repeated. That includes utilities and municipal charges from the transfer date, and if the roof falls in, it becomes your problem. It was the clearest sentence anyone had spoken. Lily opened the folder they had prepared for her. Inside were tax notices, an insurance letter, a utility statement, and a ring holding 7 keys. 1 key was newer than the others. 2 were marked with tape so old that the writing had faded. A brass tag on the ring read, "Service Room." At the bottom of the utility statement was a standby charge larger than her monthly car payment. "Grandpa paid this?" she asked. "Every month," Joshua said. "For a dead building?" Travis pushed his chair back. "You're doing it again." "Doing what?" "Making something mysterious because Grandpa touched it." Lily looked down at the brass tag. James had been careful with money. He saved rubber bands, washed plastic food containers, and drove the same truck until the driver's seat split. Yet for years, he had paid to keep something connected at a plant that no longer sold ice. Maybe it was stubbornness. Maybe Joshua was right, and nobody had canceled the proper account. Still, James had labeled 1 key. The executor offered her a pen. Lily signed. Travis took a breath through his nose, relieved first and pleased second. Joshua didn't look relieved at all. He watched her complete the last signature, then signed his own line with a quick stroke. After the executor added his acknowledgement, he separated the copies. "The properties transfer as recorded," he said. "Each of you accepted the distribution and had the opportunity to seek an independent appraisal." Travis reached for his copy. "Good. We'll get the salvage authorization finished next." "No," Lily said. His hand stopped. "No what?" "I'm not authorizing demolition. We already discussed this." "You discussed it." "I listened. The salvage company won't hold the offer forever. Then they can let it go." Joshua sat forward. "At least disconnect the utilities. Do that today. I'll look at the building first. You can't just walk through it. It has doors, doesn't it? I mean, safely." Lily put the keys into her coat pocket. "I'll manage." Travis gave a short laugh. With what money? That question followed her out of the conference room. She had a little over $11,000 saved from working the front desk at a physical therapy office. She rented a room from a friend, drove a car that shook above 55, and still owed money on a community college program she hadn't finished. The plant's yearly taxes alone could drain most of her savings. By the time she reached Canal Street, cold rain had started. The plant stood behind a chain-link fence near the canal, larger than it looked in the photograph. Its main building was 3 stories of dark brick. A low machine wing stretched along one side. The loading dock faced a cracked yard where delivery trucks had once turned. Someone had looped a chain around the gate, but the padlock opened with the newer key. That small success helped more than it should have. Lily drove inside and closed the gate behind her. Rain tapped against the car roof while she studied the building through the windshield. There was no sensible place to begin. The roofline dipped near the rear. A downspout had separated from the wall. Water poured beside the foundation. Her phone rang. It was Travis. "You there?" he asked. "Yes." "Don't go inside alone." That concern arrived fast. "I am concerned. I'm also trying to keep you from making this harder. Take pictures, then meet the salvage guy tomorrow." "No. You haven't even seen the inside. Neither have you." "I saw enough." Lily looked at the loading door. A smaller personnel door stood beside it, painted green beneath years of dirt. "Did Grandpa ever give you a key?" Travis paused. "Not that I remember." "Joshua?" "I don't know. You both wanted the utilities shut off, but neither of you checked what they run. Because whatever they run is old. That's not an answer. Lily, don't turn this into some test of who loved Grandpa more. She closed her eyes. I didn't. You always do. He ended the call before she could answer. Lily remained in the car until the rain weakened. Then she took a flashlight from the glove compartment, pulled up her hood, and crossed the yard. The green door stuck at the bottom. She leaned against it twice before it opened with a scrape. Cold air met her, damp and heavy with rust. Her flashlight moved across a concrete corridor, a row of dented lockers, and a time clock mounted beside an empty card rack. Water dripped somewhere deeper inside. She tried the wall switch. Nothing happened. The main production floor opened beyond the corridor. Tanks rose into darkness. Insulated pipes crossed the ceiling. A cracked wooden pallet lay near a floor drain filled with leaves. There was no shining machine waiting to rescue her. No obvious reason her grandfather had kept paying bills. She walked only where the concrete looked clear. At the rear of the floor, she found the caretaker's stairs. The narrow flight led to 2 rooms above the loading area. One held a sink, a hot plate, and cabinets with their doors open. The other had an iron bed frame and a radiator. Rainwater had stained one corner of the ceiling, but the floor was dry. On the windowsill sat a blue enamel cup. Lily picked it up and rubbed dust from the rim. James used to drink coffee from that cup while filling out order slips. She could see his square hand around it, his thumbnail split from some repair he had refused to leave for Monday. She set the cup back where she found it. Downstairs, the dripping had become easier to locate. Water was entering through a broken pane above the service corridor, falling into a shallow electrical trough, and spreading toward a metal cabinet. Lily stepped closer, then stopped. A warning label remained readable on the cabinet door. She knew enough not to touch wet equipment. She went outside and searched the loading area. Behind a stack of ruined plastic crates, she found a sheet of heavy rubber roofing rolled around a pipe. It was stiff, but usable. She dragged it through the rain, climbed the short fixed ladder beside the corridor roof, and secured the rubber over the broken pane with bricks and a length of wire. It wasn't a repair. It was barely a patch. But when she returned inside, the water had slowed to a thin run away from the cabinet. Lily placed a bucket under the final drip. Her flashlight caught a gray panel on the opposite wall. Most of its labels had peeled away. One round analog gauge remained behind cloudy glass. Its needle rested near the bottom of a yellowed scale. Beside it hung a maintenance tag with James Fletcher's initials. Lily didn't touch the panel. She photographed the tag, the gauge, and the wet floor. Then she called the number printed on an old service sticker fixed to the cabinet. A man answered after 4 rings. Turner, my name is Lily Fletcher. I'm at the old Fletcher ice plant. There was a pause. James's granddaughter? Yes. I found your sticker in the service corridor. Are you inside that building alone? For the moment. Then stay away from every panel you see. I am. Another pause followed, shorter this time. What happened? There was water coming in near a cabinet. I covered the window and moved the water away. The panel has a gauge and one of Grandpa's tags. What date? Lily raised the flashlight and read it. The man went quiet again. Mr. Turner? Sean, he said. Don't shut off anything, and don't let anyone else shut it off either. I'll come in the morning. Lily looked at the old needle behind the glass. Why? Because your grandfather didn't leave maintenance tags for decoration. The bucket caught another drop. Lily took the brass service room key from her pocket, locked the green door from inside, and went upstairs to find out whether the caretaker room radiator still had a valve. The radiator had a valve, but turning it did nothing. Lily hadn't expected heat. She was still disappointed. She found an old broom in the caretaker kitchen and swept plaster from one side of the bedroom. The rain eased after midnight. Without it, the building became so quiet that every settling pipe sounded close. She didn't sleep there. At 2 a.m, she locked the green door and drove back to the room she rented from her friend. She showered, changed her clothes, and lay down without taking off her socks. Her phone alarm went off 3 hours later. Sean Turner was already waiting at the gate when she returned. He stood beside a white cooperative van wearing work boots, a canvas coat, and a dark wool cap. He was 59, broad through the shoulders, with careful hands and a face that looked tired even when he smiled. You're Lily, he said. She unlocked the gate. You remember me? Last time I saw you, you were carrying a box of billing slips for James. You dropped half of them in the loading yard. I remember that. You blamed the wind. It was windy. It was August. That sounded like James. Lily smiled before she meant to. Sean noticed the sheet of rubber she had tied over the broken window. He pulled on one corner, checked the wire, and nodded. That bought you a dry day. 1 whole day? If the wind stays down. He took a flashlight and a small electrical tester from the van. Before they entered, he asked exactly what she had touched. Lily told him. He made her repeat which cabinet had been wet. You did right leaving it alone, he said. Water travels. Old wiring doesn't always trip when it should. The green door dragged across the floor again. Sean lifted it slightly by the handle, and the scraping stopped. Bottom hinge is loose, he said. Not the floor. Lily had thought the concrete had risen. Sean walked through the corridor without hesitation, though he moved more slowly when they reached the production floor. His flashlight passed over the tanks and pipe runs. He knew where the floor dropped near a drain, and where an iron bracket stuck out at shoulder height. You worked here a long time? Lily asked. Started when I was 20. Left after production closed. Grandpa kept coming here. I know. Did you? Sometimes, not every month. He said it without looking at her. Lily waited, but he didn't explain. In the service corridor, Sean crouched beside the metal cabinet. The water had stopped several feet away. He checked the concrete, then examined the cabinet without opening it. That tag you mentioned, Lily showed him. The paper tag was brown around the edges. James's initials were written beneath a date from the month before he died. Other tags hung behind it on the same wire, their corners layered together. Sean separated them with one finger. He kept the sequence, he said. What sequence? Whatever he was testing. You don't know? Not from this. He stood still. At first, Lily thought he was reading the label above the cabinet. Then he raised one hand for quiet. A truck passed outside. Its tires hissed on wet pavement. The sound faded. Under that was something else. It was too low to be called a buzz. Lily felt it before she separated it from the building's other noises. A steady vibration traveled through the soles of her shoes. Sean put his palm against the block wall beside the cabinet. That's a transformer hum. So, there is power. There's power somewhere. Don't make it bigger than that yet. But the lights didn't work. Different circuit. Maybe a fault. Maybe somebody turned them off. He moved his flashlight along a conduit that disappeared through the wall. On the other side was a locked steel door. Lily tried the brass tag key. It entered, but the lock wouldn't turn. Sean took the ring and compared 2 older keys. The one wrapped in faded red tape opened the door. You knew that? I knew James. Inside, a narrow room held switchgear, conduits, and a tall gray transformer enclosure behind a steel barrier. Dust covered the floor, except for a strip near the wall. The room smelled faintly warm. Lily expected Sean to start opening panels. Instead, he stayed at the threshold. Nothing in here gets touched until it's inspected, he said. Then what can we do? Find out who owns the meter. Find out which account is active. Get somebody qualified to trace the service. I have the utility statement. Good. Keep paying it. The amount on that statement came back to her. For how long? Until you know what you've got. That's not a small bill. No. He closed the door and returned the keys. Why would Grandpa leave this running? Sean looked toward the production floor. James didn't like losing something twice. What does that mean? It means you should find his maintenance records before I guess. Travis and Joshua went through the office papers. Not those offices. He pointed past the cold rooms toward a glass-fronted room above the machinery floor. Its access stairs were blocked by fallen ceiling panels. Lily had seen the room the night before and assumed it was empty. Can we get up there? Not under that ceiling. Sean walked beneath it, looked at the sagging tiles, and pressed the end of a broom handle against one. Water spilled onto the floor. Roof leak, he said. That needs to come down in a controlled way. You'll want masks, gloves, and somewhere dry to put whatever's left. Lily took out her phone and began a list. Sean watched her type. You planning to do all this yourself? I can't afford a crew. That wasn't my question. Lily lowered the phone. My brothers won't help. I didn't ask about them either. It irritated her that he could sound patient while correcting her. What are you asking? Whether you want to keep the building. I signed for it. People sign for things they mean to sell. I'm not selling it for scrap. That still leaves plenty of choices. Lily walked to the production floor. Daylight came through the high, dirty windows, showing more damage than her flashlight had. A section of ceiling insulation drooped above the old packing area. Rust streaked the brine tank. Wooden doors on 2 cold rooms had swollen shut. The place was too large for determination to count as a plan. "What did Grandpa want?" she asked. Sean stood beside her. "He didn't tell me." "You saw him here?" "I saw him checking valves. I replaced 2 pump seals for him. Once in a while, he'd call because a motor sounded wrong. After the business closed?" "Yes." "Why didn't anybody know?" "I knew. You didn't tell us. James was alive. It was his business to tell." Lily wanted to argue. She also knew Sean was right. Her phone rang. Joshua's name appeared on the screen. "Answer it," Sean said. "I need to look at the outside service entrance." Joshua spoke before Lily could say hello. "Travis says you hired somebody." "I didn't hire anyone." "Who's at the plant?" "Sean Turner." There was a pause. "The old mechanic?" "He used to work here." "What's he doing?" "Helping me look." "Did he open any electrical panels?" "No, don't let him." Lily glanced at Sean, who was close enough to hear Joshua's voice. "He knows that." "You don't know what he knows. Neither do you." Joshua exhaled. It was the sound he made before turning a request into something that seemed like her idea. "Look, bring the keys to Pine Street when you're done. Travis wants to copy them, so we all have emergency access. The plant belongs to me. We all have things in there." "What things?" "Grandpa's tools, some storage boxes, family stuff. The deed includes the fixtures and contents left on the parcel." "I'm not talking about ownership. I'm talking about access. Those sound similar right now. Why are you being like this?" Lily looked through the loading door window. Sean was tracing the overhead cable with his eyes, keeping his hands in his pockets. "Like what?" "Suspicious. We're trying to make sure you don't get hurt. Travis called the salvage company before I signed. That was planning. He planned what to do with my property. It wasn't yours yet, but it is now." Joshua went quiet. Lily knew what usually happened next. He would soften his voice. He would say Travis was difficult, but practical. Lily would agree to something small, so Joshua wouldn't feel caught between them. Then Travis would treat the small agreement as permission for whatever he already wanted. She had called that keeping the peace. It hadn't occurred to her that peace always seemed to require her keys. "I'm not giving either of you access," she said. "You shouldn't be alone there. Then you can call before you visit." "You're serious?" "Yes." "All right. Fine." He didn't sound angry. He sounded hurt, which was harder for her to bear. Before he ended the call, he said, "Grandpa's folding table is in the Pine Street basement. You told me you wanted it." "I do. I can bring it over." "Thank you." Joshua hesitated. "You'll let me in?" "If I'm there." After the call, Lily kept holding the phone. Sean came back inside. "The weatherhead looks intact," he said. "That's all I can tell without the utility and an electrician. Joshua wants a key. Are you giving him one?" "No." "Then don't. He's not Travis." "I didn't say he was. He worries. Some people worry by standing beside you. Some people worry by taking the choice away." Lily put the phone in her pocket. "You didn't come here to give family advice." "No. I came because I heard that transformer over your phone last night." "You heard it?" "Barely. I wanted to know if it was the building or your car. And now? Now we know something in that service room never went fully dark." He still wouldn't say what that meant. Lily was beginning to understand that careful people didn't fill empty spaces just because she wanted an answer. Sean opened the maintenance wing door and inspected the roof from below. He marked 3 places with chalk where they could remove wet ceiling material without standing beneath it. Then he showed Lily how to shut a rusted water valve feeding a cracked wash sink. The valve resisted both hands. "Don't force it," he said. "It's already leaking. It'll leak faster if the stem breaks." He sprayed the threads, waited, and worked the handle back and forth by less than an inch. Lily took over when he nodded. She felt the metal loosen. The drip slowed, stopped, then returned once before stopping for good. "There," Sean said. "That's one problem that won't grow today." The silence after the last drop felt useful. He checked his watch. "I have to get to work." "Where do you work now?" "Hudson Valley Food Cooperative, facilities manager." "What kind of facilities?" "Warehouses, coolers, loading equipment, anything that fails on a weekend." Lily looked back at the cold room doors. Sean saw where she was looking. "Don't jump ahead. I'm just looking." You're looking like James. Before leaving, he wrote down the names of 2 licensed electricians. He also gave her a list of safety supplies and told her not to clear the office stairs alone. What do I owe you? Lily asked. Nothing today. I don't want favors I can't return. Then return this one by not getting yourself killed. He started toward the van. Sean? He turned. Why did Grandpa keep calling you? He trusted me to say when something wasn't worth fixing. And did you? More than once. Did he listen? Not often. That answer seemed to please him, though he hid it quickly. After he drove away, Lily went upstairs to the caretaker rooms. In daylight, she found signs that James had used them more recently than anyone realized. A clean coffee filter sat in a cabinet. 3 unopened cans of soup were dated the year before. A wool blanket had been folded inside a plastic tub to keep out damp. Nothing was valuable. Nothing explained the service. It did confirm that James hadn't simply mailed payments and forgotten the building. He had come here prepared to stay through lunch, bad weather, or a stubborn repair. Lily sat on the iron bed frame and called her friend. I need to move some of my things, she said. Are you leaving? Not all at once. I might stay at the plant a few nights. The abandoned plant? It's not abandoned. The correction came quickly. Lily heard it herself. Her friend agreed to keep the room available through the end of the month. That gave Lily a deadline she hadn't had that morning. She swept the caretaker bedroom again. Then she carried the folded blanket downstairs and laid it across the dry part of the loading office floor. When Joshua arrived with the folding table, Travis was in the passenger seat. Lily walked outside, closed the green door behind her, and locked it before she opened the gate. Travis got out before Joshua had turned off the engine. You locked it? Yes. With you outside? I have the key. I can see that. Joshua opened the back of the car and pulled out one end of the folding table. It was the heavy brown kind James used for estate sales and family dinners when the kitchen table ran out of room. Are you going to help? Joshua asked Travis. I thought we were seeing the building. You're not, Lily said. Travis looked past her toward the green door. I drove over here. Joshua drove. Lily, you can wait outside. Joshua held the table between them, embarrassed by all 3 of them. Lily took the other end. Where do you want this? He asked. The loading office. She unlocked the door and let Joshua enter ahead of her. Travis followed until Lily put out her hand. I'm not giving you access. I'm standing right here. That's still access. His face changed. Not much, just enough for Lily to see that he hadn't believed her refusal would last when he was present. I want to make sure it's safe, he said. Sean already looked through it. So the mechanic gets in, but your brother doesn't? He came because I asked him. I'm asking now. No. Joshua adjusted his grip on the table. Can we put this down before my fingers come off? Lily stepped inside and pulled the door toward her. Travis stayed on the other side. She and Joshua carried the table across the corridor. He looked around the production floor, taking short breaths through his nose. It smells worse than I remember. It's wet near the old packing area. Stay this way? You know where it's safe already? I know where I've walked. They set the table against the office wall. Joshua pressed both palms to his lower back. Grandpa kept this cleaner. He was still coming here. I know he came sometimes. Every month, maybe. Joshua frowned. Who said that? There are dated tags. On what? Lily didn't answer. He looked toward the service corridor. His fear arrived before his curiosity. You didn't touch any equipment, did you? No. Did Sean? No. Then leave it that way. Lily folded the legs out and stood the table upright. One corner wobbled. She remembered James pushing a folded piece of cardboard beneath that same leg during Thanksgiving dinner. Joshua watched her test it. Travis is going to keep asking, he said. I know. He thinks the salvage offer expires Friday. That's his problem. He says it becomes yours if you miss it. It already is mine. Joshua looked toward the closed door. Travis's shape passed across the wired glass. You could at least hear what they're offering. I'll hear it after I know what I own. You own a damaged building, and something in it is still drawing power. Joshua went still. Lily regretted telling him as soon as the words left her. What do you mean drawing power? Sean heard a transformer. That doesn't mean anything useful. I didn't say it did. It could be a fault. It could be heating inside a wall. Which is why I'm getting it inspected. Joshua lowered his voice. Don't tell Travis yet. Why? Because he'll make it into something. He already made it into scrap. Joshua had no answer for that. When they went outside, Travis was on his phone. He ended the call and looked at Joshua. Well, it's wet, Joshua said. Anything else? No. Lily knew he was lying for her. It was a small thing, but Joshua's face made it seem expensive. Travis held out his hand. Let me see the key ring. No, I want to know whether Grandpa's office key is there. I'll check. There are personal papers in that office. Then I'll bring them to the executor if I find them. Why are you acting like we're strangers? Because strangers usually ask before entering, Lily thought. She put the key ring in her pocket. The gate closes in 5 minutes, Travis laughed once. All right, learn the expensive way. He walked to the car. Joshua lingered by the open driver's door. Call me if the electrician finds anything dangerous. I will, and don't stay here tonight. Lily didn't promise. After they left, she locked the gate and returned to the folding table. She put her notebook on it, along with the utility statement and the list Sean had written. For the first time, the building had a place where she could sit and make a decision. She called both electricians. The first couldn't come for 3 weeks. The second, a woman named Ellen Park, had a cancellation the next afternoon. She charged for a 2-hour industrial inspection, payable whether she found anything or not. Lily wrote the amount in her notebook. Then she called the utility. The first person transferred her. The second asked for an account number she didn't have. Lily found it near the bottom of the statement and read it aloud. After another wait, a customer service representative confirmed that the account had transferred with the deed. Can you tell me why I'm paying standby charges? Lily asked. It's an industrial account. The business closed years ago. I can only see the current billing class. Is there actual usage? The representative paused. There's a small monthly consumption. How small? She gave Lily a figure that meant nothing to her. Is it the same every month? I can see the recent statements. It's fairly consistent. Can you see how long it's been that way? Not from this screen. Can anyone? You'd need a service review. How do I request that? The representative gave her another number. When Lily called it, a recorded voice asked her to leave the meter serial, service address, and reason for the request. She had the address. She didn't have the serial. The meter had to be somewhere inside or on the service wall. She walked around the building until she found a steel enclosure behind the machine wing. A cloudy inspection window showed several dials and a metal plate. Dirt covered the lower half. Lily photographed it without opening anything. When she enlarged the picture, she could read most of the serial. She left the information on the utility recording and requested a service review. That was the deliberate part. Until then, she had been reacting to whatever her brothers, the executor, the rain, or the building put in front of her. The request might lead nowhere, but it belonged to her. That evening, she bought work gloves, masks, contractor bags, a battery lantern, and 2 plastic tubs with lids. She stood in the hardware aisle, adding the prices in her head. Then she returned a package of new paintbrushes to the shelf. Paint could wait. She slept in her rented room, though she had already packed 2 boxes. Her friend helped carry them to the car before work the next morning. "You're sure about this?" her friend asked. "No, that's not comforting. It's more honest." One box held clothes. The other held a kettle, towels, cleaning supplies, and the framed photograph of James that Lily had received after the funeral. In it, he was sitting on the loading dock with his sleeves rolled up, looking annoyed that someone had interrupted him. Lily placed the photograph face down in the box before she carried it upstairs. She wasn't ready to make the room look like home. Ellen arrived shortly after lunch in a dark utility truck. She signed in on the folding table, reviewed the utility statement, and asked for the history of the building. Lily gave her only what she knew. Production stopped years ago. My grandfather kept paying the account. There's a hum in the service room and a small amount of monthly usage. No shutdown paperwork, not that I've found. No recent inspection labels, only maintenance tags with his initials. Ellen put on safety glasses. "Show me," without touching. They started outside. Ellen photographed the service entrance and meter enclosure. Inside, she tested the damp cabinet, checked the air around the transformer enclosure with a small heat sensor, and traced the conduits as far as she could without removing covers. "The main service is energized," she said. "What does it feed?" "I don't know yet. Can you find out? That's why I'm here." She opened the first cabinet only after testing it from several points. Lily stood well behind the marked line Ellen had placed on the floor. Inside were rows of old breakers, newer fuses, and handwritten labels. Most had faded. One narrow control circuit was marked CIRC. Ellen traced it through the wall. They followed the conduit onto the production floor, behind the brine tank, and down to a smaller panel near two pumps. One pump was covered in rust. The other had newer bolts on its housing, and a maintenance tag tied to the valve beside it. Ellen tested the circuit. That line is live. Is the pump running? No, not the motor itself. Then what's using power? There could be a heater, a control transformer, or an automatic device farther along. I need the circuit map. Would it be in the office? If your grandfather kept one. The block stairs became the next problem. Ellen inspected the ceiling above them and shook her head. Don't go through that until the wet material is removed, and don't do it with the service energized nearby. Can you shut off just that area? I can isolate the lighting branch. I'm not shutting down the main without knowing what else depends on it. That was the first time someone other than Sean had warned her not to disconnect everything. Lily looked toward the service corridor. Why not? Because restarting old industrial service isn't always as simple as flipping it back on. I don't know your arrangement with the utility. I also don't know whether something here needs continuous power. My brothers think all of it should be disconnected. Ellen closed the pump panel. Your brothers didn't hire me. The sentence settled Lily more than reassurance would have. Ellen isolated the unsafe lighting branch, tagged it, and showed Lily which areas now had no electrical hazard from the damaged fixtures. That allowed them to clear the office stairs without working near live wiring. For the next hour, Lily filled contractor bags while Ellen watched the ceiling and directed where she could stand. Wet tiles came down in heavy pieces. Mold had darkened the paper backing. Above them, a roof seam had opened along an old patch. When the stairs were clear, Ellen went up first. The office door was locked. None of Lily's 7 keys opened it. Lily leaned close to the glass. She could see a desk, 2 metal cabinets, and shelves of binders. A clipboard hung from a hook beside an interior door. Can the lock be removed? She asked. It's your building. Ellen drilled the cylinder and opened the door. The air inside was dry and stale. Dust covered the desk, but not evenly. A clean rectangle showed where something had been removed. One filing cabinet stood open and empty. The other was locked. Travis said they went through the office papers, Lily said. Maybe they did. Then how did they get in? Ellen pointed to the interior door. There may be another entrance. It led to a narrow stairwell descending toward the loading dock. At the bottom, a steel door had been fastened shut from the dock side by a sliding bar. Someone with access to the loading area could have entered before the bar was set. Lily returned to the office. The binders on the shelves contained old invoices, safety sheets, and equipment manuals. She searched for a circuit map while Ellen inspected the office panel. Near the bottom shelf, Lily found a thin folder labeled Monthly. It held blank inspection forms and one carbon copy from the year production stopped. Across the top, James had written a note in block letters. Keep circulation load. Do not close service account. Below that was a telephone number and 2 initials. M.B. Lilly photographed the page. Does that confirm anything? She asked. It confirms the small load wasn't an accident, Ellen said. It doesn't tell us why he kept it. She completed her inspection at the folding table. The immediate list covered 2 pages. The service room needed barriers, grounding work, moisture protection, and new labeling before a formal load test could happen. The leaking roof seam had to be stopped first. How much? Lily asked. For the electrical corrections I can see, several thousand. More if we find damaged cable. And the rest? The pump system needs its own mechanic. The utility may require an engineer for any serious test. Lily paid the inspection charge. Watching the money leave her account made the building feel more legally hers than the deed had. After Ellen drove away, Lily called the number beside the initials. An older woman answered. Hello? Is this Monica Benson? Yes. My name is Lily Fletcher. I found your initials on one of my grandfather's plant records. Monica was silent for several seconds. Then she said, Did you disconnect the meter? No. Good. Don't let anybody convince you to do that before I see what James left. Lily gave Monica the address, though Monica said she could still find the plant without it. I kept books in that building longer than you've been alive, she said. I'll come tomorrow morning. Don't move the tags. I won't. And don't clean the office before I see it. That request surprised Lily. Why? Because I want to know what's missing. Monica ended the call after arranging to meet at 10. The next morning, she arrived carrying a canvas grocery bag and a thermos. At 75, she walked with a cane on uneven ground, but she refused Lily's arm at the loading dock. I need the railing, not carrying, she said. Lily led her through the green door. Monica stopped at the old time clock and pressed one finger to the metal casing. James should have taken this down years ago. It ran 4 minutes slow from the day they bought it. You worked here when he bought the plant? I started doing his books not long after. He understood refrigeration. He did not understand quarterly taxes. She noticed the folding table in the office and smiled. That thing always wobbled. Lily folded a piece of cardboard and pushed it beneath the short leg. Monica set down her thermos. Now it's an office. She opened the grocery bag and removed a thick black record book held shut with an elastic band. The cover had softened at the corners. Lily didn't touch it. What is that? Standby maintenance. You kept it? I kept the last one. Monica pulled off the elastic. Each page had columns for the date, meter reading, pump time, temperature, and repairs. James's handwriting filled most of them. The earlier entries were neat. The later ones wandered slightly uphill. He brought this to my house after every visit, Monica said. I entered the expenses and gave it back. Then the office roof leaked one winter. After that, I kept the book with me. Why didn't my brothers know? They never asked me for plant records. Travis asked about rent deposits. Joshua asked whether the estate could be charged for soil cleanup if they demolished. What did I ask? You asked whether James paid me before he died. Lily remembered. Monica had sent the final bookkeeping invoice a week after the funeral, and Lily had called to make sure it wasn't sitting unpaid. Monica poured coffee into the thermos cap. You were busy making sure nobody felt overlooked, she said. That can take up a lot of time. Lily looked down at the ledger. What was he maintaining? A small circulation load. That's what he called it. Ellen found a live circuit marked CIRC. That would be it. Did he tell you why? He said the system needed movement. Seals dry out. Brine settles. Motors don't improve from sitting. That explains the pumps. It doesn't explain the electric account. Monica turned several pages. Near the middle, James had written a longer note across 2 columns. Monica read it silently first. I remember arguing with him about this charge, she said. It had gone up again. I told him he was paying for capacity he didn't use. What did he say? He said using it wasn't the same as keeping it. Monica turned the book so Lily could read. James had written that the original service was to remain open. He had underlined a warning that disconnection would surrender the plant's industrial allocation. Below that, he had recorded a short circulation test and the meter reading afterward. What allocation? Lily asked. I don't know exactly. You did the books. I recorded what the utility charged. I wasn't the engineer. Could it still exist? Monica lifted one shoulder. The account exists. The hum exists. That isn't proof of the rest. Lily read the note again. Why didn't Grandpa leave an explanation with the estate papers? Maybe he thought this was an explanation. It isn't much of one. James knew his own mind so well that he sometimes forgot other people couldn't see inside it. That sounded right enough to hurt. Monica asked to see the service tags. Lily walked beside her through the corridor, keeping to the dry route. At the cabinet, Monica put on reading glasses and separated the tags one at a time. These are his. You're sure? I watched him initial invoices for 30 years. He made the bottom of the F too long. The tags appeared nearly every month. A few had Sean's initials beside James's. The newest matched the last entry in Monica's record book. Monica compared the date and meter notation. He came here 12 days before he died. Lily had seen James 3 days after that visit. He had complained about the price of coffee and asked whether she had checked the oil in her car. He hadn't mentioned the plant. Did he think one of us would keep it? Lily asked. Monica took off her glasses. He thought one of you should. That's not the same thing? No. Did he say who? No, and if he had, I would tell you. Lily believed her. They returned to the folding table. Monica examined the blank rectangle on the dusty desk upstairs through photographs because Lily wouldn't let her climb the cleared stairs. That was probably the main binder, Monica said. Travis and Joshua went through the papers, then asked them where it went. Would the circuit map be in it? It could be. Maintenance invoices, utility letters, equipment lists. James kept too much paper, except when somebody needed it. Lily called Joshua while Monica drank her coffee. He answered from work in a whisper. Is something wrong? Where are the plant records you and Travis removed from the upstairs office? We gave the estate papers to the executor. All of them? All the ones that mattered. Was there a large binder? I don't remember. Did you enter through the dock? Another pause. Travis had someone cut the padlock before the estate inventory. What someone? The salvage company. They needed pictures. Lily gripped the edge of the table. Before I signed, we were trying to get an estimate. Did they remove anything? No, not that I saw. You were there? For part of it. Where is the binder? I told you I don't know. Monica watched Lily without interfering. Ask Travis, Lily said. You can ask him. He'll tell me I'm making it mysterious. Joshua lowered his voice further. I'll look in his garage and send me the salvage pictures. I don't have them. Get them. Lily, I'm at work. So am I. She ended the call before she could soften it. Her hand shook slightly when she set down the phone. She disliked making demands. She disliked more that Joshua expected the discomfort to make her stop. Monica closed the record book. You didn't used to talk to him that way. I know. Was he listening before? Lily looked at the empty filing cabinet. Not really. Monica left the ledger with her, but only after Lily promised to store it somewhere dry and make a digital copy. This is not a deed, Monica said. It won't decide ownership. The deed already did that. Good. Remember it. It proves Grandpa kept coming. It proves a routine. It proves he paid attention. It may help somebody qualified understand the system. Don't ask it to do more. Lily wrapped the book in a clean towel and placed it inside one of the plastic tubs upstairs. Joshua sent the salvage photographs an hour later. There were 32 images. Most showed rust, roof damage, and old equipment from unflattering angles. The last 4 were taken inside the office. In one, the large binder sat on the desk. In the next, it was gone. Lily called Travis. He declined the first call and answered the second. I'm in the middle of something. Where is Grandpa's plant binder? What binder? The one on the upstairs office desk. I gave all records to the executor. It isn't there. Then it was probably trash. Did you throw it away? I don't remember every piece of paper. The salvage photographs show it disappearing while you were there. Travis was quiet long enough to choose his answer. The contractor took some equipment documents so he could identify what had resale value. Give me his number. I'll call him. No. Give me the number. Why are you treating this like theft? Because he removed records from property none of you owned yet. It was estate property, and we were evaluating it. Then he can return the binder to the current owner. Travis breathed into the phone. You signed the deed knowing the place was a wreck. I signed before I knew. You let a salvage company remove records. I was trying to make the plant worth something. Send me the number. He sent it 2 minutes later. The salvage company still had the binder. A man there said it had been placed with the plant photographs and equipment notes. He sounded uneasy when Lily explained that she owned the parcel and had never authorized its removal. She drove across town and collected it that afternoon. The binder wasn't dramatic. Its vinyl cover was cracked, and several dividers had pulled loose, but the circuit map was inside. So were maintenance invoices, old utility letters, and a handwritten list of monthly procedures. One procedure matched the small circulation load in Monica's book. Lily called Sean. He came after his shift, still wearing a cooperative badge on his coat. He spread the circuit map across the folding table and held the corners down with a flashlight, a wrench, Monica's thermos, and the blue enamel cup from upstairs. This is the brine loop, he said. James kept one small pump available to move fluid through the low side. Why? To slow the damage. Keep seals wet. Keep the worst sediment from settling in one place. Can it run now? Not until I inspect the pump and manifold. Ellen found the control line. That's not the same as a working system. He compared the handwritten procedures to the dated tags. James was doing short tests, he said. 10 minutes some months, 20 in winter. Why preserve all this after production stopped? Sean studied the utility letter in front of him. It referred to demand service and original capacity, but several pages of the agreement were missing. Because replacing it would be difficult, he said. How difficult? I don't know until the utility tells you what's still attached to this parcel. Lily showed him the warning James had written in Monica's record book. Sean read it twice. He told you nothing about this? She asked. He told me never to open the main. I thought he meant the equipment couldn't take a cold restart. You didn't ask? I did. He said, you keep your side alive, and I'll keep mine. What was your side? The pumps. Can you keep them alive now? Sean looked toward the machine wing. I can find out. The inspection took the rest of the evening. One pump shaft turned by hand. The backup didn't. Several valves were stiff but intact. Near the far end of the brine line, Sean found white crystals around a joint. Leak? Lily asked. Old seepage. Maybe current. We'll clean it and watch. In the manifold room, they found the larger problem. A casting had cracked near a flange. Someone had wrapped it years earlier, but the repair had separated. That won't hold a real test, Sean said. Can it be replaced? Not off a shelf. It'll need to be fabricated or rebuilt. How much? I need measurements and prices. Lily leaned against the doorway. Every answer seemed to come with an invoice attached. Sean wiped his hands on a rag. There's something else you should know. She waited. The cooperative is short on refrigerated storage. Our growers are hauling produce farther south because we don't have enough local space. Lily looked toward the cold rooms. You said not to jump ahead. I did. Now you're jumping? I'm telling you there could be a use for this place. I'm not promising you business. What would they need? Safe rooms, working circulation, reliable power under load. Actual numbers, not an old note and a hum. When? We're reviewing options before the autumn contracts. If another warehouse makes the numbers work first, we use them. The building had gone from a burden to a question, and now the question had a clock. Lily looked at the cracked manifold, then at James's procedure sheet in her hand. What comes first? Sean picked up his measuring tools. We find out what it costs to make this system prove itself. They started with the manifold because nothing farther down the line mattered if it couldn't hold pressure. Sean measured the crack section twice. Lily wrote down each diameter and bolt spacing while he called a fabrication shop from the loading floor. He didn't ask for a rush job. When Lily questioned that, he covered the phone. You don't ask for rush pricing before you hear regular pricing. The shop could rebuild the casting if Sean removed it cleanly. A new section would take longer and require changes to the pipe around it. How long? Lily asked after he ended the call. About 2 weeks for the rebuild. And the price? They'll call back. That means bad. It means they need to price it. Sean opened his tool case. Removing the manifold took most of the day. Every bolt resisted. 2 snapped. One had to be cut without damaging the flange behind it. Lily held the work light, fetched tools, and labeled each part in plastic bags. At first, Sean checked everything she did. By noon, he told her which wrench he needed without looking up. They lifted the casting onto a low cart. Brine residue had dried blue-gray inside the crack. This is why James only ran short circulation tests, Sean said. He knew the weak point. Why didn't he fix it? Maybe he was waiting for a reason. Or money, that too. The fabrication shop called while Lily was cleaning the flange. The rebuild would cost more than she had hoped and less than she had feared. She approved it and paid the deposit before she could reconsider. One deliberate repair was now underway. It felt good until she checked her bank balance. Sean covered the open pipes and marked the isolation valves. Then he turned toward the cold rooms. If the cooperative ever looks at this place, those doors need to open. Lily had tried the first door twice. Its rubber seal had hardened against the frame. Sean showed her where to clean the track and how to put pressure on the latch without bending it. They worked warm water into the seal with rags. The door shifted less than an inch. That's something, Lily said. It's an inch. Yesterday it was no inches. They kept working. The door finally released with a long pull and a sound like a boot lifting from mud. Cold, stale air came out, though the room had no cooling. Lily raised the battery lantern. The walls were lined with old insulated panels. Some seams had opened near the ceiling, but the panels remained straight. The concrete floor was dry. A wooden rack stood against the far wall, dusty but solid. Sean walked the room slowly, checking corners and tapping panels. Better than I expected, he said. Lily smiled. You don't say that often. I don't get the chance. The floor drain had been capped. Sean removed the cover and found the trap packed with dry debris, not collapsed. Lily cleared it with a hand auger. Water from a bucket ran through without backing up. That was the first part of the building that did exactly what she asked of it. They opened the second cold room before dark. Its door needed less work, but water had entered near the outer wall. Several panels would have to be replaced. One usable room and one repairable room, Lily said. One room worth testing and another worth measuring, Sean corrected. She wrote down both. Over the following week, Lily worked mornings at the therapy office and spent afternoons at the plant. She slept in the caretaker room 3 nights, wearing 2 sweaters beneath the wool blanket. The battery lantern sat on the sink. She heated water with a small camping stove beside an open window and washed from a basin. The arrangement was uncomfortable, but it was hers. She paid the overdue water charge attached to the parcel and the city's recorded cleanup fee from an old exterior violation. Neither amount was large by itself. Together with the manifold deposit, inspection, supplies, and utility bill, they left her savings thin enough to count daily. Once the charges cleared, the city accepted her application for repair permits. Ellen submitted the electrical scope, but warned Lily that the service room work would grow if the old grounding system failed inspection. The utility returned Lily's call 2 days later. A service coordinator confirmed that an engineering review could be scheduled after the service room passed code inspection. "I only need to know what kind of service I have," Lily said. "The engineer has to compare the equipment and account records. Can't you check the meter serial now? We can confirm it's an active meter. I already know it's active. Then the next step is the site review. How soon after inspection? Current scheduling is 3 to 5 weeks." Lily wrote it on the calendar above the folding table. The cooperative's autumn decisions were getting closer, while every person she needed worked on a different clock. Sean brought a facilities checklist from the cooperative. He removed the cooperative's internal pages and left only the general requirements. "This isn't an offer," he said. "I know. It isn't approval. I know. I'm saying it twice because you're looking happy. I'm happy to have a list." The list covered cleanable surfaces, drainage, temperature control, loading access, emergency power procedures, and food safety separation. Lily walked through the plant with it. The loading dock height worked for the cooperative's trucks. The dry cold room was large enough for a meaningful amount of produce. The floor drains connected where the old plan said they did. The caretaker plumbing needed repair, but it was separate from the production water lines. Each useful answer led to more work. Monica came back with a portable scanner. She sat at the folding table and copied every page of the maintenance book, while Lily sorted utility letters from the recovered binder. "James paid these standby charges for years," Lily said. "He complained every time, but he kept paying. He complained about medicine too, still took it." One utility letter warned that voluntary termination would require a new capacity application for any future industrial use. Another listed technical terms neither woman understood. Monica placed it beside the circuit map. "Sean should read that." He did. "He says the utility has to interpret it, then let them." Lily looked at the calendar. "Everyone says, wait for the next person. That's because the wrong person giving a confident answer can cost you more than waiting." Monica knew Lily didn't like the answer, but she didn't change it. The sound of a vehicle in the yard made Lily look through the loading window. Travis had parked beside her car. "Did you invite him?" Monica asked. "No. Do you want me to leave?" "No." That answer came more slowly. Travis entered through the green door after knocking once. He wore clean shoes and stopped when he saw the dusty floor. "You should keep this locked." It was locked. The gate was open. "Because Monica is here." He noticed the scanner, the open binder, and the cooperative checklist beneath Lily's notebook. "Busy place," he said. Monica kept scanning. It used to be. Travis picked up the checklist before Lily could stop him. "What's this? Put it down." He read the heading. "Food storage? It's a general facilities list." "From Sean?" "Yes." "So he thinks this can operate again. He thinks it can be inspected." "That's different." "It is." Travis set the paper down, but his attention had sharpened. Until that moment, he had believed Lily was repairing the plant because she couldn't bear to discard something James loved. A checklist suggested somebody else might find it useful. "I talked to the salvage company," he said. "They'll renew the offer. I'm not interested. You haven't heard the amount. I don't want them removing equipment. They said you accused them of taking records." "They did take records. They returned the binder. After I found out." Monica stopped the scanner. Travis lowered his voice. "I'm trying to solve this before it drains everything you have. How much are they offering?" His expression changed slightly, pleased that she had asked. "After demolition costs, they think there could be 20,000 left for you. Maybe more if the copper prices hold. They tear down the building, sell the equipment, and I might get 20,000. You'd walk away clean. What happens to the service? It gets disconnected." Lily shook her head. Travis pulled out the chair opposite her. Listen, you've already spent money. That's exactly when people get stuck. They think spending more will rescue what they spent first. The manifold is being rebuilt. Why? To test the circulation system. For Sean? For me? He works for a cooperative that needs storage. That means he has an interest here. He told me that. Did he also tell you what they'd pay? There is no offer? Then you're fixing his problem with your money. Lily didn't have a good response. Sean had been careful, but Travis had touched the fear beneath that care. The cooperative might choose another warehouse. The utility might say the old service was ordinary. The cold room might fail under load. Monica closed the record book. James paid Sean for plant work, she said. Sean recorded what he repaired. He never hid his side. Travis looked at her. This is family business. I did the family books. You're not doing them now. No. Lily asked me to help with hers. The word hers sat between them. Travis leaned back. All right. Here's something simple. Let me bring in an appraiser. An industrial appraiser? A property appraiser. The property was already assessed. That was for the estate. This would tell us what the land is worth without the building. Us? You know what I mean. I don't. If there's real value here, the division may not be as even as we thought. Monica looked at Lily, but said nothing. You chose Pine Street, Lily said, based on what we knew. You declined an industrial appraisal. We all did. I asked about one. And then you signed. So did you. Travis stood. I'm not asking for anything today. I'm saying don't pour money into this because Sean handed you a checklist. He walked to the green door, then turned. If somebody is considering this place for business, you should tell Joshua too. He's worried the estate division was unfair. That worry came late. It came when the facts changed. After he left, Lily closed the gate and locked it. Monica finished the final scan. He noticed, Lily said. Yes. There isn't even anything to notice yet. There's work. People notice work. Sean arrived an hour later with the rebuilt manifold strapped in the back of his van. The shop had finished early after finding the casting easier to repair than expected. He and Lily carried it into the machine wing. The repaired seam was smooth, the flange clean, and the new bolt holes aligned on the first try. They installed it before supper. When Sean tightened the last connection, Lily checked every label and reopened the isolation valves in sequence. They didn't start the pump. The electrical corrections and pressure check still had to come first. But the brine loop was whole again. Sean wiped the repaired casting with a clean rag. The cooperative wants me to prepare a preliminary site note, he said. Travis saw the checklist. Then he knows there's interest. He knows enough to want an appraisal. Sean looked toward the locked gate. What do you want now? Lily rested her hand on the cool repaired manifold. I want numbers strong enough that nobody gets to call this a feeling. Sean left the question unanswered until he had finished the site note. For 3 days, he measured door openings, room volume, loading clearance, and the distance between the electrical service and the refrigeration equipment. Lily followed with a clipboard. She took photographs from the same marked points each afternoon, so the cooperative could see what had changed. They cleared the dry cold room completely. Sean tested the wall panels with a moisture meter borrowed from work. Most readings stayed within a usable range. The damaged outer wall in the second room failed in 6 places. One room first, Lily said. That's how I'd price it. He made her measure the loading door herself. You'll own the numbers when somebody questions them, he said. The cooperative reviewed his note without visiting. 2 days later, Sean arrived after work with a white envelope and set it on the folding table. This came through facilities and purchasing, he said. I didn't approve it. Lily wiped her hands before opening it. The proposal was 4 pages. The cooperative would reserve the main cold room for refrigerated storage if Lily completed the required repairs, passed health and building inspections, and demonstrated reliable electrical capacity under a formal load test. The plant also had to hold the required temperature before the agreement became binding. The proposed payment was $96,000 a year. Lily read it again. That's real? It's conditional. I understand. I need you to understand more than the word. If the system fails, they owe nothing. If you miss the review window, they can choose another site. How long do I have? 6 weeks before purchasing closes the current search. That's not enough. It's what they gave you. She turned to the last page. There was a place for her signature acknowledging that the proposal was not a final contract. Why this much? Because they're paying for dependable local space. Less driving, fewer spoiled loads, easier access during harvest. The loading floor can also handle public ice pickup if the production side is restored later. Public ice? Not now. Storage comes first. Lily signed the acknowledgement and gave Sean a copy. Can you keep helping me? As James's former mechanic, yes. As the cooperative's facilities manager, I have to report what I find. I won't hide a failure for you. I wouldn't ask. I know. I'm saying it now, so neither of us has to wonder later. He left the original proposal with her. The amount changed the room around it. The folding table was still scarred. A bucket still sat beneath a roof stain. But the paper described people arriving with produce, trucks backing against the dock, and cold rooms used for something besides dust. It also made every weak point urgent. Ellen returned the following morning with the full electrical scope. The original main equipment could remain for testing, but the service room needed new protective barriers, corrected grounding, moisture sealing, labeled disconnects, and replacement of one damaged feeder section. A safe test connection had to be installed for utility equipment. Sean added the manifold rebuild, pump seals, valve work, brine handling, and pressure testing. A roofer's written estimate covered the seam above the office and the service corridor. The cold room door repairs were last. Lily put every figure into a column. The total required to reach a formal test was $38,000. That did not renovate the whole plant. It did not repair the second cold room, produce ice, fix the caretaker plumbing, or guarantee a cooperative contract. It bought the right to find out whether the central systems could work. Lily had less than $8,000 left that she could use. She sat at the folding table after everyone left and divided the total by 12, then by 24, then by 36. The numbers became smaller without becoming affordable. Travis called that evening. She let it ring. Joshua called 10 minutes later. She answered. Travis says the cooperative sent something. How would he know? He called Sean's office. Lily closed her eyes. What did they tell him? Nothing. They said they couldn't discuss a site review with him. Good. So there is a site review. There's interest. How much? I'm not discussing terms. Why not? Because it isn't your agreement. Joshua went quiet. That sounds like something Travis would say, he said. Lily looked at the proposal on the table. Maybe he isn't wrong every time he sets a boundary. I'm not trying to take anything. You told me the plant was dangerous and wanted every utility disconnected. Now you want contract details. Because this affects whether the division was fair. We each signed. Before we knew. I asked for an industrial appraisal. I know. You wanted the liability gone. I know that too. His voice had changed. The defensiveness was gone, leaving something more difficult. I was scared, he said. I thought there could be contamination, demolition orders, years of bills. Travis said you cared about the building, and I let that make it sound reasonable. You helped persuade me. Yes. Lily waited for an apology. Joshua seemed to know it, and perhaps that was why he didn't offer one quickly. Can I come by? He asked. Why? I want to see where you're sleeping. I didn't tell you I was sleeping here. Your friend did? Lily disliked that too, but less than she expected. Joshua arrived alone with a bag of groceries and a small electric kettle. She met him at the gate. The outlet upstairs hasn't been cleared for that, she said, looking at the kettle. I kept the receipt. He carried the groceries inside. This time he waited while she locked the door behind them. Upstairs, he looked at the iron bed frame, the plastic tubs, the camping stove, and the battery lantern. Lily had placed a borrowed mattress on plywood across the frame. Her clothes hung from a pipe rack she had scrubbed clean. You're actually living here. Some nights. This isn't a home. The words hurt because Lily agreed with them. It has a roof. Parts of it have a roof. She put the groceries in the cabinets. Joshua touched the radiator valve. Still no heat? No. What are you trying to prove? That question again. I'm asking differently. She closed the cabinet. Are you? He sat on the edge of the bed. When Mom died, you were the one who kept calling everybody, he said. You made Sunday dinners happen. You reminded Travis about birthdays. You went to Grandpa's appointments when neither of us could. Neither of you would, I know. And when he died, I thought if I didn't fight over money, we'd still be a family. Joshua looked down. There it was, plain enough that Lily wished she hadn't said it. She had accepted the plant partly because James had loved it. She had also accepted it because Travis was pleased and Joshua was relieved. Some part of her had believed that taking the difficult share without making them feel guilty would preserve her place between them. It hadn't worked. They still wanted information, access, and a voice in her decisions. Her willingness had not bought respect. It had only made the first signature easier. Joshua rubbed his palms together. "I should have stopped the meeting," he said. "Yes. I didn't understand what the service could mean. Neither did I. That's why it feels different now. The plant hasn't changed since we signed. Our information changed. That matters. It matters to what I do next. It doesn't reopen your choice." He looked at her. "So that's it? For ownership, yes. I meant us." Lily leaned against the sink. "I don't know." Joshua nodded slowly. He had wanted reassurance, the thing she usually gave before anyone earned it. She let the silence remain. Before he left, he opened the grocery bag. There were eggs, bread, apples, coffee, and a package of thick socks. "I didn't know what you had," he said. "Thank you. I can help with the roof. The roofer starts Monday. I can help clear things. Call first." "I will." It wasn't repair, but it was the first time Joshua accepted a rule without trying to soften it. After he drove away, Lily made coffee on the camping stove and called the credit union where she kept her savings. She asked about a secured repair loan on commercial property. The application took 2 days. The lender wanted the recorded deed, paid tax receipts, insurance coverage, repair estimates, and a personal guarantee. The plant's land and structure were enough to secure a limited loan, but the interest rate reflected every risk the building carried. If the system failed and Lily couldn't make payments, she could lose the property. Her remaining savings would already be inside it. Monica read the proposed loan papers at the folding table. "You don't need my permission," she said. "I need somebody to tell me if I'm being stupid. That isn't bookkeeping. You knew Grandpa. I did. He might have spent every dollar keeping a machine alive. That doesn't mean you have to." Lily slid the cooperative proposal toward her. Monica read the payment amount without reacting. "This would cover the loan," Lily said, "if it becomes a contract, if the service works, if the cold room holds." "Yes." Monica removed her glasses. "Are you borrowing this money to prove your brothers cheated you?" Lily looked toward the open production floor. A week earlier, the honest answer would have been partly yes. She had wanted Travis to see that the thing he dismissed had value. She had wanted Joshua to regret being afraid. She had wanted the plant to explain why James chose her, though nobody had proven that he had. That was no longer enough to risk $38,000. "I want the cooperative trucks here," she said. "I want that room cold and full. I want the loading floor working again. Even if Travis never admits anything?" "Yes." "Even if James didn't plan it for you?" Lily took longer with that one. "Yes." Monica put her glasses back on and checked the repayment schedule. "This fee can be negotiated," she said, pointing to the second page. They called the lender together. Monica asked 3 questions Lily hadn't thought to ask. The lender removed one fee and reduced another after Lily agreed to automatic payments. The following morning, Lily signed the loan. She transferred the first deposits to Ellen, the roofer, and the fabrication shop. The money left in 3 clean amounts. No machine started, no light came on. From the folding table, the plant looked exactly as it had an hour earlier. Sean arrived with new pump seals and found Lily writing dates on the calendar. "You did it?" he asked. "I funded the test work." "All 38? "All 38. He set the parts on the table. "Then we stopped treating this like James's old plant." Lily looked around the loading floor. "What do we treat it like?" "Yours." Lily began by paying Sean. He objected before she finished the sentence. "I have a job, and you're doing another one here. I said I'd help. You also said this is mine now." Sean looked at her for a moment, then nodded. They wrote a short agreement at the folding table. He would inspect and restore the brine circulation equipment outside his cooperative hours. He would record every part and test result. His work for Lily would remain separate from anything he reported to the cooperative. His rate was lower than Lily expected. "Is that what you normally charge?" she asked. "It's what I'm charging for this." "That wasn't my question." He almost smiled. "You learn fast." She raised the rate. He crossed out her number and wrote one between the two. "Now we can work," he said. Lily made a schedule from the cooperative deadline and worked backward. Utility review needed a past electrical inspection. Electrical inspection needed a dry service room. The brine test needed the repaired manifold, sealed pumps, and cleared lines. The cold room needed clean surfaces and working drains before anyone would discuss food storage. She posted the schedule above the folding table. For the first time, nobody else's opinion appeared on her list. The roofer arrived Monday morning and opened the seam above the service corridor. Water had traveled farther under the membrane than the ceiling stains showed. The repair took 2 days instead of 1, and used most of Lily's roof allowance. She approved the added work after seeing the wet insulation herself. When the roofer finished, Lily climbed the fixed ladder with him and checked the patch seam. Rain arrived that night. She stood in the service corridor with a flashlight and watched the floor remain dry. The bucket beneath the old drip stayed empty. She carried it upstairs and used it to wash the caretaker room window. Ellen began the electrical work the next day. She installed a barrier around the old equipment, corrected the grounding connections, replaced the damaged feeder section, and mounted a safe test point for utility equipment. Lily cleaned the room only when Ellen marked an area safe. Under years of dust, they found stamped identification plates on the main switchgear. One serial matched a number in the recovered binder. Another matched the meter photograph Lily had sent the utility. "That helps," Ellen said. "Does it prove the service?" "It proves these records belong to this equipment. The utility proves what the equipment is entitled to receive." Lily copied every number twice. The old analog gauge remained in place. Ellen cleaned the glass with a dry cloth, but didn't open its housing. "Can you test that?" Lily asked. "Not meaningfully without a controlled load. It doesn't move now. The circulation control barely draws anything. That gauge was built to measure demand, not a light bulb." Lily photographed it at rest. In the machine wing, Sean removed the seals from the circulation pump. The rubber had hardened at the edges, but the shaft showed no deep scoring. James kept it turning just enough, he said. They cleaned the housing and installed the new seals. Lily learned to tighten the cover bolts in a crossing pattern. On her first attempt, Sean loosened 2 she had overdone. "You're not trying to defeat the bolt," he said. "I want it sealed. Even pressure seals. Anger cracks cast iron. I'm not angry at the pump. The pump doesn't know that." She started again. By Friday, the pump turned smoothly by hand. The repaired manifold held during a low-pressure water check. One valve leaked around the stem, but Sean repacked it instead of replacing the whole body. Lily watched the pressure needle stay fixed for 10 minutes. "That counts," she said. "That counts." It wasn't the formal circulation test. The system still held water, not brine, and the motor had not been energized. But the rebuilt section didn't leak. One small question had closed. Monica came in twice that week. She built a simple expense ledger on Lily's laptop and matched each invoice to the work schedule. "You need a separate account," she said. I opened one. "You need to stop buying plant supplies with your grocery card. The rewards points are useful. The confusion is not." Lily transferred the expenses. Monica also made her record unpaid labor hours, including her own. "You said you weren't charging me. I'm not. The business still needs to know what work costs." That afternoon, Joshua called before arriving. He brought work clothes and spent 3 hours helping clear rotten wood from the loading dock. He asked before opening each door. Lily noticed. She didn't thank him for following a rule that should have been ordinary, but she gave him a clean pair of gloves and showed him which boards to stack. They worked without discussing the estate. Near the end, Joshua found a rusted wall bracket beneath a pile of lumber. "Grandpa used to hang the delivery clipboard here," he said. "I thought it was beside the time clock. That was the employee board. This one had the truck sheets, you remember that? He made me check returned ice bags one summer." Lily looked at him. "You never told me you worked here. I lasted 4 days." "Why?" "I put the wrong count on a delivery. He made me call the customer and correct it. That sounds like Grandpa. I thought he was trying to embarrass me." "Was he?" Joshua lifted the bracket and brushed dirt from it. "No. He wanted the count right." They cleaned the bracket and put it back on the wall. It wasn't needed yet, but the loading dock looked less forgotten with it there. Before Joshua left, he stood beside the repaired threshold. "Travis asked what I saw. What did you tell him?" "That you're working. Anything else?" "No." "Why not?" "Because if he wants information, he can ask you." That was new. Lily gave him 2 bags of trash to carry to the hired container. He accepted them without making the moment larger. The city electrical inspection took place the following Tuesday. Lily waited outside the service room barrier while the inspector checked Ellen's work. He asked for the circuit map, the equipment serials, and the moisture repair record. Lily had all three on the folding table. He examined the new grounding connections, tested the barrier clearance, and checked the label disconnects. The old equipment didn't become modern because the room was cleaner. It became accessible without somebody guessing where to stand or what a switch controlled. The inspector signed the correction sheet. "This clears the room for the utility review and supervised testing," he said. "It does not approve production operation. I understand. Any load test stays under the utility engineer's procedure." "Yes." He placed the signed copy in her hand and left. Lily took it to the service room and taped a copy beside the door. The clean white paper looked almost too new for the block wall. Ellen switched on the new service room work lights. They came on together. The light was ordinary, bright, and flat. It showed repaired conduit, fresh labels, a dry floor, and the old gauge behind its cloudy glass. Nothing hummed louder. No hidden machine woke up. Still, Lily stood there longer than necessary. She had paid for one room to become safe enough for the next question. The utility accepted the inspection that afternoon. A coordinator emailed a request for Lily's intended test load, equipment list, and circulation procedure. If an engineer approved the plan, the site could be placed on the testing calendar. Sean helped her prepare the equipment list. Monica copied James's relevant maintenance entries. Lily attached Ellen's service room report and photographs of the matching serial plates. The utility replied the next morning. The application was complete enough for engineering review. Lily printed the message and placed it beneath the calendar. Then she called the cooperative directly. Sean had given her the purchasing office number, but until then, she had let him carry every conversation. Lily explained that the service room had passed inspection, the manifold had held low pressure, and a utility test request was pending. The person on the phone asked whether the main cold room could be shown safely. "Yes," Lily said. "Can you provide a cleaning plan and a repair schedule for the damaged room?" "Yes." "Can the loading dock receive a full-size refrigerated truck?" "Yes." She knew because she had measured it herself. The cooperative scheduled a preliminary site visit for the following week. It was not a contract review. It was a chance to decide whether the plant remained a real option. After the call, Sean read her cleaning plan. "You forgot pest control. There aren't pests. You need a plan to keep it that way." She added it. "You also need to remove personal storage from the loading office. That's my office. It's beside a food handling route." Lily moved her clothes tubs upstairs. She replaced the folding table's cardboard shim with a cut piece of rubber and scrubbed the table until the water stopped turning gray. The day before the visit, she and Sean washed the dry, cold room walls. Monica labeled record boxes at the loading office. Joshua arrived after calling and repaired the loose screen door hinge with bolts Sean had set aside. The door no longer dragged. That visible change pleased Lily more than it should have. People could enter without forcing their way through. The cooperative visit lasted less than an hour. Sean remained quiet unless asked a mechanical question. Lily showed the loading path, the dry room, the drain, the repaired manifold, and the utility review documents. The visitors found issues. The dock needed one safety rail. The cold room seams needed food-safe sealing. They wanted temperature monitoring independent of the old controls, but they did not remove the plant from consideration. The following morning, Lily received a revised conditional checklist marked Site Acceptable Pending System Test. She printed 2 copies. One went in the business file. The other went on the wall above the schedule. That afternoon, a car stopped outside the locked gate. Travis got out and looked through the chain-link fence. A cooperative vehicle was still parked near the loading dock because Sean had driven it to work that morning and returned on his lunch break for a forgotten tool. Travis took a photograph with his phone. Lily walked across the yard but didn't unlock the gate. "What do you need?" she asked. He held up his phone. "Joshua says the service room passed." "Yes." "And the cooperative inspected. They made a preliminary visit. So this is moving forward. That's the plan." He looked past her at the cleared dock, the repaired green door, and the new safety markings inside. "How much have you spent?" "That's private. Did you borrow against the plant?" Lily said nothing. The answer showed on her face anyway. Travis put his phone away. "If you've made this property commercially useful, we need to talk before you put it beyond reach." "We don't." "I'm having the distribution reviewed. The executor already explained it. I'm not asking the executor. He returned to his car without raising his voice. Lily watched him drive away. Then she went inside, removed the conditional checklist from the public wall, and placed it in the locked file cabinet. Sean called at 7 the next morning. I won't be at the plant today, he said. Lily sat up on the caretaker bed. What happened? The cooperative received a complaint about the site review. What complaint? That I steered purchasing toward your building while you were paying me. You disclosed the work. I disclosed my history with James and the plant. I updated them when we wrote our agreement. Now they're reviewing whether I should have stayed out completely. Who complained? He didn't leave much doubt. Lily put her feet on the cold floor. Is your job in danger? I don't know. Sean, I'm still employed. I've been told to stop outside work at Canal Street until they finish the review. What happens to the proposal? It's paused. Lily closed her eyes. For how long? That was the real loss. The 6-week window hadn't stopped because Lily was ready to work. It had opened wider for somebody else. I'm sorry, she said. You didn't make the call. I started paying you, which was correct. But if I hadn't, then the complaint would have been that I donated work to influence you. Travis would have found a sentence that sounded bad. Lily stood and pulled on her coat. What do you need me to do? Send the cooperative our agreement, every invoice, and the messages where I told you the proposal wasn't guaranteed. I'll send them now. And don't call Travis until you're calm. I'm calm. No, you're quiet. He knew the difference. Lily sent the records from the loading office. Monica had kept them organized, so the packet took 15 minutes. The cooperative acknowledged receipt and said the site proposal would remain suspended during review. Suspended was a clean word for work that might never return. At 9, Travis called. Lily answered without greeting him. Did you contact the cooperative? I asked a question. You filed a complaint. I asked whether their facilities manager should be taking money from a property owner he recommended. He didn't approve the proposal. He prepared the site note. He also disclosed his role. To you. To them. Then they'll clear him. Meanwhile, they're looking somewhere else. Travis let that sit. I told you this was a problem, he said. Sean had an interest. He had a written work agreement. After he brought the cooperative here, he told me they needed storage before I hired him. Exactly. Lily looked through the office window at the repaired manifold. What do you want? I want us to stop pretending this only affects you. It does only belong to me. The opportunity came from family property. The burden did too. You were happy to give me that. We didn't know what was here. You still don't. We know enough to have the plant valued properly. Do that from the road. Travis's patience slipped. You borrowed against it. If this fails, the lender takes property that should have been divided fairly. The property was divided fairly, according to the deed you signed. No, it was divided according to bad information. You declined better information. So did you. I was the only one asking questions. And then you signed because you wanted the plant. Lily looked at the copied maintenance pages. I signed because both of you wanted me to take it. That doesn't mean you get to hide the upside. There it was. Not concern about wiring, not fear of debt. Upside. Don't call Sean's employer again, she said. I'll speak to whoever is involved in a family asset. It isn't a family asset anymore. We'll see. He ended the call. By noon, Joshua was at the gate. Lily considered leaving him outside. Then she saw his face and opened the lock. I didn't know Travis was going to complain, he said as soon as he entered. But you told him about the inspection? Yes. And that I'm living here. Yes. And that I borrowed money. I guess that part. He found the loan record. The loan was secured against the parcel. Travis had searched the public filing after Lily refused to tell him the amount. Joshua followed her into the loading office. He showed me a proposal, he said. What proposal? For the 3 of us to sell the plant together once the service is verified. Your loan gets paid first. You recover everything you spent, then the balance is divided. He doesn't own anything to sell. He wants you to transfer shares before the test. And what do you want? Joshua looked at the cooperative packet on the table, though the terms were face down. I want to know what fair is now. Now? I know how that sounds. Do you? Yes. Lily waited. Joshua sat in the chair Travis had used during his last visit. If the plant is worth a lot more than the rentals, you'll have more than both of us. And if the service fails, you'll have the debt. Does Travis's proposal divide that too? Joshua looked away. No, Then he doesn't want fairness. He wants a share of the answer without paying for the question. What if we help with the repairs? They're already funded. What if we pay part of the loan? Why? So, this doesn't become the thing that ends us. Lily almost laughed, but Joshua wasn't being false. He was trying to buy his way backward to a decision he could live with. This didn't start with the loan, she said. I know. It started when you both treated my willingness as permission. I know that too. Then stop trying to own part of the plant. Joshua pressed his hands together. Travis says if you agree now, he'll withdraw the complaint. He can't withdraw what the cooperative already has to review. He can clarify that he isn't alleging misconduct. He is alleging misconduct. He says he'll fix it, if I give him ownership. Joshua didn't answer. Lily gathered the cooperative records and placed them in the locked cabinet. Tell him no. You tell him. I already did. This is going to get worse. Then decide whether you're helping him make it worse. Joshua stood. What does that mean? It means you don't get to be the gentle voice for his demand. If you believe you own part of this, say it. If you don't, stop carrying his messages. He left without touching the groceries he had brought the week before. The plant felt emptier after he went. Sean's tools were still arranged in the machine wing, but his coat wasn't on the hook. The pump was ready for pressure testing, yet nobody qualified to finish the mechanical work was allowed to touch it without deepening the complaint. Lily called Sean. Come get your tools, she said. I can leave them there. I don't want anyone saying you're still working. He arrived in his own truck after dark. Neither of them used the cooperative van. Lily had printed his time records and prepared payment through that day. Sean looked at the amount. You don't need to settle this now. Yes, I do. I'm coming back when the review is over, if you can. He signed the receipt and packed his tools. On the production floor, he stopped beside the circulation pump. The seals are in. The manifold held low pressure. The next step is filling the isolated loop and checking every joint before power. I can hire another mechanic. You can. Give them the records. Don't let them change the sequence because the controls look old. What if the cooperative thinks I used you? You did use me. You hired me for work. You know what I mean. Yes. He closed the tool case. I should have removed myself from the first site note once you started paying me. I thought disclosure covered it. Maybe it did. Maybe it didn't. Travis made it sound dishonest. Travis made it sound useful to him. Lily leaned against the brine tank. If I stop now, he'll clarify the complaint. Would you stop because I'm in trouble? Yes. That's not the same as wanting to stop. No. Then don't put your choice on me. She looked at him. I can't let you lose your job over this. You don't control my employer, Lily. You control that gate, those accounts, and whether you keep the utility appointment. I don't have an appointment yet. Check your email. The utility message had arrived 20 minutes earlier. Engineering had reviewed the submitted equipment list. A supervised test could be scheduled in 12 days if Lily completed the mechanical readiness statement and paid for a calibrated test bank connection. The test would determine what the existing service could carry. It would not guarantee approval for future operation. The payment was larger than the amount left in her testing allowance. Lily read the message twice. Can they test without the circulation pump? She asked. They can test the electrical service with their equipment, but if you want to show the plant system works too, the loop has to be ready. The cooperative proposal is paused. Yes. I could spend the last of the loan and end up with no contract. Yes. I could sell now, clear the debt, and be done. Yes. Sean didn't rescue her from any part of it. He took a photocopy of James's circulation sequence from the binder and laid it beside the pump. You've watched every step, he said. Ellen can supervise the electrical side. A refrigeration mechanic can certify the pressure work. The utility engineer controls the load test. You won't be here. Not as your paid mechanic unless the review clears me. After he left, Lily walked through the building alone. The service room was dry. The new lights worked. The first cold room was clean. The loading door opened without scraping. None of those things restored the cooperative proposal. None proved the old service could carry a useful load. Upstairs, she packed a bag in case the loan failed, and she had to leave. Then she unpacked it. She called the utility number before the office closed. I want the test date, she said. The coordinator explained the fee, the equipment risk, and the requirement that the site be mechanically ready. Lily listened to each condition. I accept, she said. She paid the test bank charge and signed the scheduling form. Then she wrote the date on the calendar, circled it once, and began calling refrigeration mechanics to finish the work Sean could no longer do. The first 3 mechanics said no. One was booked through the end of the month. Another wouldn't work on an old brine system. The third agreed to visit, then canceled after seeing photographs of the manifold. Lily sent each response to Sean because he had asked to see who she called. On the 4th morning, he phoned before she reached the plant. "The cooperative finished its review," he said. She pulled into the yard and shut off her car. "And they found no undisclosed payment and no evidence I influenced purchasing. I'm recused from any decision about your site. Do you still have your job?" "Yes." Lily let out the breath she had been holding. "Can you work here?" "As your mechanic, yes." "I have to report my hours and stay out of cooperative discussions. Someone else will evaluate the test results." "What about the proposal?" Still paused. "They're keeping the other site under review, so nothing comes back unless we pass." "Correct." "When can you get here?" "After 4. Lily looked at the test date on the calendar. 5 days remained. "I'll have the loop ready to fill." "You won't touch the fill valves until I'm there. I'll have the area ready. That's better." She spent the day clearing access around every joint Sean needed to inspect. She laid absorbent pads beneath the repacked valve, checked the manifold bolts against his written sequence, and moved the remaining storage boxes out of the machine wing. At 4, Sean returned with his tools. Lily didn't hug him. Neither of them would have known what to do with that. She handed him a fresh timesheet and pointed to the pump. "The new mechanic is late, so I heard." They began with the isolated loop. Sean inspected the casting repair, Ellen checked the motor leads, and Lily read James's procedure aloud while they followed it. The old instructions were short because James had written them for himself. "Open low return, confirm bypass, turn pump by hand, check manifold, no load until flow path is clear." Lily had copied each line onto a larger sheet and added the valve numbers from the circuit map. They filled the loop slowly with treated water for the pressure check. The repaired manifold stayed dry. The repacked valve formed one bead at the stem. Sean tightened the packing nut by less than a quarter turn. The bead stopped. They raised the pressure in steps. Lily recorded the gauge reading every 5 minutes. At the final test pressure, nobody spoke for half an hour. The needle held. Sean walked the full loop one last time, dragging a dry white cloth beneath each joint. It came back clean. "That's your mechanical readiness," he said. "Completely?" "For the isolated circulation test. Not production, not refrigeration. Right, exactly that." Lily did. Ellen tested the pump motor insulation. The readings were stable. She briefly energized the control circuit without starting the motor, confirming the contactor responded, and the safety stop opened the circuit as intended. The original demand gauge in the service room didn't move. Lily looked at it through the cleaned glass. "Should it?" "Not for this," Ellen said. "We haven't placed a real load on the service." "Could it be broken?" "Yes." The answer had no softness in it. It could also be working. They would not know until the utility test. Sean signed the mechanical readiness statement. Ellen signed the electrical section. Lily sent both to the utility with the equipment serials and the recorded test procedure. The coordinator accepted the documents the following afternoon. The scheduled test remained in place. One uncertainty was gone. The plant could safely receive the test bank, and the circulation loop was ready to operate beside it. What the service would do under load was still unavailable to them. Lily took the recorded deed from the locked cabinet and noticed it was only a photocopy. The executor had given each heir a copy at the meeting, but the utility wanted a recorded version showing the county stamp. She called the executor. "I need a certified copy of the distribution deed." "For the utility?" "Yes, I can send it today. I also need the acknowledgement about the appraisal." He paused. "Why?" "Travis says the division is being reviewed. He contacted me." "What did you tell him?" "That the deed was signed voluntarily and recorded. I don't decide whether he pursues a private claim. Does he have one? That's not something I can advise you about." Lily disliked the careful answer, but she understood it. Did we all decline the industrial system appraisal? The meeting record says it was discussed. No beneficiary requested one before signing. I asked whether one had been done. "You did. Does the record say that?" "The meeting notes do. Send those too." "I can send the notes. They don't create or remove ownership." "The deed does that." "Good." The The certified copy arrived by courier the next morning. Lily placed it with the utility documents. The deed described the Canal Street parcel, building, fixtures, and service obligations in plain language. Her name appeared where it had always appeared. The paper didn't become stronger because Travis regretted signing it. Monica came to prepare the test records. She brought the original maintenance ledger in its canvas bag and refused to leave it overnight. "I'll carry it myself," she said. "The utility only needs copies. The engineer may want to compare the handwriting or the meter readings." "You don't know that." "No, that's why I'm bringing it." They placed copies of James's last 12 maintenance entries in order. His final tag matched his final written test. The original meter serial appeared on an older utility letter inside the recovered binder. Monica traced it with one finger. "Same number as the plate?" "Yes." "And the active meter?" "It appears to be. The utility has to authenticate it." Monica closed the binder. Then we stopped there. Lily appreciated how firmly Monica protected the edge of what they knew. Nobody in that room needed a bigger story before the test. Travis sent a written proposal that afternoon. He and Joshua would pay off Lily's repair loan and reimburse her direct expenses. In return, Lily would transfer equal ownership of the plant to all three of them before the utility test. Any later sale or operating income would be divided equally. Joshua's name appeared beneath Travis's, but there was no signature. Lily called Joshua. "Did you agree to this?" "I agreed to read it. Your name is on it. I didn't sign." "Did you tell Travis he could send it?" "No." "Then tell him to remove your name." Joshua was silent. "Do you want equal ownership?" Lily asked. "I don't know what I want. You knew when it was a demolition bill. That's not fair. It's exact." He exhaled. "I don't want you to lose the plant," he said. "Then don't help Travis take it. He thinks a shared sale would protect everyone." "From what?" "From this becoming permanent." Lily looked around the caretaker room. The cleaned window let afternoon light reach the floor. Her clothes hung in the open cabinet. James's blue cup sat beside her kettle. "It is permanent," she said. "What is?" "The deed. The loan. What happened in that meeting? Even if I sold tomorrow, it wouldn't make us the way we were." Joshua said nothing. "The test is Friday morning," Lily continued. "You can come if you want." "Does Travis know?" "I'm calling him next." "Why invite him?" "Because I'm not discussing the result through you." Travis answered on the second ring. "I got your proposal," Lily said. "It clears your risk. It buys ownership after I took the risk. You haven't taken the biggest one yet. I'm not transferring anything. Then at least delay the test until we get an independent valuation. The equipment arrives Friday. You're forcing this. If the service proves valuable, every dollar came from something Grandpa maintained with family money. His estate. It wasn't estate money while he was alive. You know what I mean. I know what you want." Travis's voice hardened. "If you go forward without us, don't expect this to stay a private disagreement." Lily could have kept the test private. The gate was locked, and neither brother had a right to enter without her permission. She could have let Travis wait outside while the utility truck came and gone. She could have sent him the result after every useful decision had been made. Part of her wanted that. Monica, who could hear Travis's raised voice through the phone, shook her head when Lily looked at her. "You don't owe him a seat," she said quietly. Lily understood. She also knew Travis would tell himself the test had been arranged, influenced, or hidden if he didn't see it. Joshua would spend another year standing between two versions of the same morning. "You can both attend," Lily told Travis. "You follow the safety rules. You don't touch equipment. You don't interrupt the engineer. If you do, you leave. You don't get to order me around. At my plant, I do." He laughed without humor. "Fine. And the proposal is rejected. You're making a mistake. Then it's mine." She ended the call. Monica watched her set down the phone. "You could have made him hear it from the road," she said. "I know. Why didn't you?" "Because I want the argument to end where the facts are. That may end more than the argument. I know that too." Lily sent both brothers the written safety rules and arrival time. Joshua replied that he would come. Travis didn't respond, but the message showed as read. The night before the test, Lily and Sean walked the circulation sequence once without power. Lily identified every valve from memory. She showed where she would stand, where Ellen would watch the control, and where the utility equipment would connect. Sean corrected her only once. Afterward, he placed James's procedure sheet inside a clear sleeve and handed it back. "You operate," he said. "I observe the mechanical side." Will the cooperative let you report what happens? I can confirm recorded readings. Their decision won't be mine. The plant was ready by 9 that evening. Lily locked the service room, checked the gate, and went upstairs. She didn't sleep much. Before dawn, she dressed, carried the certified deed and maintenance copies downstairs, and laid them on the folding table beside Monica's empty chair. Joshua arrived first. Travis pulled in behind him. Lily opened the gate once, admitted both cars, and locked it again. A few minutes before 8, a utility truck turned onto Canal Street with a calibrated test bank secured behind it. The truck stopped beside the machine wing. A man in a utility jacket stepped out, checked the address on his work order, and walked to the gate with a hard case in one hand. Caleb Adams was 43, calm, and interested only in the conditions listed on his form. "Property owner?" he asked. Lily raised her hand. "Lily Fletcher. I need identification, the recorded deed, and the inspection clearance." She led him to the folding table. Travis followed close behind. Joshua stayed beside Monica, who had arrived carrying the maintenance ledger against her chest. Sean waited near the machine wing in clean work clothes with no cooperative badge. Caleb compared Lily's identification with the deed. He checked the county stamp, service address, and parcel description. Travis leaned over the table. "There's a dispute about that deed." Caleb looked at him. "Are you listed as an owner? I'm an heir. That wasn't my question. The estate was divided without an industrial appraisal." Caleb handed the deed back to Lily. "I don't review estate divisions. I verify who can authorize work at the service address. And," Caleb pointed to Lily's name, "she can." Travis straightened. Lily put the deed inside its folder. "The safety rules are on the door," she said. "You agreed to them. I'm stating a fact. You've stated it." Caleb asked everyone who wasn't involved in the test to remain behind a yellow line outside the service room. Travis objected to being grouped with spectators. Caleb didn't respond. He had already turned toward the meter enclosure. The calibrated test bank remained secured behind the truck. It was a heavy metal unit with cooling fans, thick cables, and controls protected by a locking cover. Caleb photographed its calibration label before connecting anything. He inspected the outside meter first. Lily stood beside him with the equipment list. "This serial is the one from your application?" he asked. "Yes. It matches the plate inside and an older utility letter. I'll verify it independently." He cleaned the meter plate, read the number, and entered it into a tablet. Then he checked the seal and photographed the current reading. Nobody asked what appeared on his screen. Sean had warned them not to turn every pause into an answer. Inside, Caleb inspected Ellen's test point, the new barrier, and the label disconnects. He checked the path of the cables from the test bank to the service room. "The plant equipment stays isolated until I call for it," he said. Lily nodded. "Who operates the circulation sequence?" "I do." "Who confirms mechanical readiness?" Sean raised his hand. "Sean Turner." I signed the statement. Caleb checked his copy. "Any active leaks?" "No." "Any pressure loss after the final check?" "No." "Who has stop authority?" "Anyone who sees a fault," Lily said. Caleb nodded once. "Correct." Travis watched from behind the line. He had expected disorder, perhaps Lily asking Sean what every valve did while the utility waited. Instead, the papers were ready. The floor was marked. Every person had a role. That made him more certain that something had been arranged beyond him. Before Caleb started, Travis spoke again. "I want it recorded that I object to the test going forward until the family ownership issue is reviewed." Joshua looked at him. "There isn't a family ownership issue. You read the proposal. I didn't sign it. You agreed the division may be unequal. I said I was afraid it was." Travis turned back to Caleb. "This service was maintained with estate resources." Monica's cane tapped once against the concrete. "No," she said. "James paid it while he was alive. It became part of the estate when he died." "The account obligation followed the plant parcel," Lily said. "It's in the deed. That doesn't make the division informed." Caleb closed the cover on the test connection. "Do you have an order preventing the owner from testing her service?" Travis hesitated. "No." "Then I'm proceeding." It wasn't a judgment against Travis. Caleb didn't care which grandchild had received which property. The utility had an active account, a recorded owner, and an approved test plan. Those were the rules he came to execute. Travis had committed himself in front of everyone now. The plant had been undervalued, so any useful result had to belong to the three of them. Lily had taken advantage of an incomplete appraisal, even though he had opposed that appraisal before the deed was signed. He needed that version to hold. Otherwise, he had pushed his sister toward a burden and returned only after her work made it interesting. Caleb directed everyone to their positions. The test bank fans started first. Their sound filled the yard and came through the service room wall. Lily stood at the circulation controls with James's procedure inside its clear sleeve. Sean waited where he could see the pump and manifold. Monica stood behind the line with the maintenance ledger open to James's final entry. Joshua watched Lily's hands. Caleb applied the first test bank step. The newer indicators on the secondary panel remained dark. Travis looked at them, then at Lily. "Nothing," he said. Caleb didn't turn around. "Those indicators aren't connected to my test point." He checked the voltage and current on his instruments, both held within his limits. "First step stable," he said. He increased the load. The hum in the service room deepened. It was no longer something Lily had to strain to hear. The transformer carried the sound into the block walls and through the concrete floor. Caleb watched his instruments. Second step stable. He turned to Lily. "Begin your circulation sequence." She read the first line, though she knew it. "Low return, open." Sean checked the valve position. "Confirmed. Bypass open." "Confirmed." Lily placed one hand near the stop control and used the other to start the pump. The contactor closed. For 1 second, the motor gave a rough, low sound. Then the shaft turned. Water moved through the isolated loop, pushing trapped air toward the high vent. Sean watched the repaired manifold. "Flow established," he said. Lily checked the pressure. Pressure holding. No water appeared at the flange. The repacked valve remained dry. Caleb applied another test bank step. The newer panel lights stayed dark. Behind their cloudy glass, the old analog gauge needle lifted. At first, it moved so little that Lily thought the vibration had shaken it. Then it rose past the first mark and continued. Nobody spoke. Caleb held the load steady. The needle stopped near the middle of the scale. It stayed there. Lily heard the pump, the test bank fans, and the transformer. She watched the repaired manifold because that was her job. Still, her eyes kept returning to the gauge. The old instrument was responding to real demand. One gauge still moved. Monica put both hands over the top of her cane. Joshua stepped closer to the yellow line without crossing it. Travis looked at Caleb's digital instruments. Could that needle be giving a false reading? "The analog reading agrees with the calibrated bank," Caleb said. "Does that mean the service is unusual?" "It means the service is carrying the applied load." "I haven't finished." He increased the bank again. Lily felt the change through the floor. The circulation pressure rose slightly, then settled. Sean checked every visible joint. "Mechanical side stable," he said. Caleb held the load through the required interval. He recorded voltage, current, demand, and meter response at each step. The old gauge didn't wander. It rose when he added load and eased when he removed one stage. At the final step, it held steady. "Test complete," Caleb said. Lily stopped the circulation pump in James's sequence. Sean closed the test valves in order. Caleb reduced the bank to 0, isolated the connection, and confirmed the equipment was safe before anyone moved. The old needle returned slowly toward rest. Travis came to the edge of the line. "So, what did it prove?" Caleb opened the utility record on his tablet. It proved the service equipment and meter responded under the requested load. "That's all?" "No." He read the meter serial from the plate, then the serial shown in the utility's continuous service ledger. He asked Lily to read the number on the old letter from the binder. All three matched. Caleb checked the first service date, account status, and interruption record. "This meter is registered to the original industrial service established for this parcel," he said. The ledger shows no voluntary termination or service surrender. Lily looked at Sean. He didn't smile. He was listening as carefully as she was. "What does that mean in ordinary English?" she asked. Caleb turned the tablet so she could see the record. The high-capacity industrial allocation was never released. It remains attached to the active service at this address. Travis stepped forward. The business closed. Production ending is not the same as terminating service. It barely used electricity. The account maintained a small load and paid the required charges. Monica opened the maintenance ledger wider. "James recorded those loads," she said. "Every month he tested." Caleb compared the recent entries to the older utility readings. He didn't treat Monica's book as proof of the utility rule. It explained the pattern already shown in the ledger. If the account had been closed, Lily said, what would happen? The original allocation would be surrendered. Any future owner would apply under current capacity rules. Could I get the same amount? Caleb looked toward the outside service lines. I can't promise what a new application would receive. Local capacity, construction cost, and current standards would all apply. But because Grandpa kept this account active, the existing allocation remains available, subject to operating approvals and equipment limits. Nobody had known that before the test. James's note had warned them what disconnection might cost. The hum proved something remained energized. The bills showed a small current use. Only the moving gauge, matched meter serial, and continuous utility ledger proved the service had survived with its original industrial capacity intact. Sean walked to the folding table and opened the cooperative's general capacity requirement. He placed it beside Caleb's verified test sheet. The plant carried more than the minimum test-level purchasing requested, he said. Travis looked from one page to the other. What does that make the property worth? I'm not a property appraiser, Caleb said. Sean answered only within his role. The cooperative's independent planning estimate placed a restored operating facility here at about $1,600,000, assuming the service, cold rooms, and permits proved out. Travis's face emptied. Joshua sat down. Lily didn't. The number was large, but it didn't enter her bank account because someone said it aloud. The plant still had a loan, an unfinished cold room, inspection work, and a paused proposal. Its value existed because it could be used, and use would require more from her. Travis reached for the test sheet. Caleb kept it beneath his hand. The verified copy goes to the account holder. That result affects all heirs. The account holder is Lily Fletcher. Monica took the certified deed from its folder. James's records establish why the service stayed open, she said. The utility establishes that it survived. This establishes who received it. She laid the deed beside the maintenance ledger. Travis read the parcel description and service obligations. His signature appeared on the following page beneath the acknowledgement that each beneficiary had the opportunity to request an independent appraisal. Joshua leaned forward and found his own signature. Travis looked at Lily. You knew there was something here. I knew the building had a bill. Sean knew. No, Sean said. I knew the transformer was energized. I didn't know the allocation survived. Monica knew. I knew what James paid, Monica said, not whether the utility still honored it. Travis tapped the deed. You asked for the plant. You offered it to me. You could have refused. So could you. The room went quiet except for the test bank cooling outside. Caleb signed the final test sheet and handed the verified copy to Lily. The service remains active, he said. Any production use still needs the required inspections. Don't alter the meter or main equipment without utility approval. I won't. He disconnected the test cables, packed his instruments, and left with no opinion about the family. Lily locked the verified sheet inside the file cabinet. Then she returned to the folding table. Travis was still standing over the deed. The plant isn't for shared sale, Lily said. That question is finished. Joshua lifted his eyes. Travis didn't. Lily closed the green door after the utility truck pulled out, locked it, and placed the key on the table between herself and her brothers. Travis didn't touch the key. You expect me to accept this because a utility employee read a screen? He said. I expect you to accept the deed you signed. The value wasn't disclosed. It wasn't known. You found it because Sean knew where to look. Sean remained beside the machine wing door. I knew where the pump was. You knew the place could serve your employer. Not until the cold room opened. Travis turned to Monica. And you kept records away from the estate. I kept a maintenance book James placed in my care. The estate inventory could have requested it. We didn't know it existed. You didn't ask me about the plant. Travis looked at Joshua, waiting for support. Joshua was still reading the appraisal acknowledgement. We signed it, he said. That doesn't make it fair. It makes it ours. No, it makes Pine Street mine, Warren Street yours, and this place Lily's. That's what I meant. Travis pushed the deed away. You're both acting like she planned none of this. Lily picked up the key. I patched a broken window because water was running toward an electrical cabinet. That was my plan, and everything after? Work. You want credit for spending borrowed money? I don't need credit from you. The words came without heat. That seemed to bother Travis more. He put on his coat. You're going to find out that an old meter doesn't run a business. Maybe. And when the cooperative backs out, I'll still own the plant. What if the lender takes it? That will be my loss. Travis opened the green door. Joshua stood. You called Sean's employer without telling me. I protected our position. We didn't have a position. We could have. That isn't the same thing. Travis looked at him with open irritation. Pick a side if you need one. Joshua's face tightened. I just did. Travis left. Through the wired glass, Lily watched him cross the yard. He didn't look back at the building. He got into his car and drove out when Lily opened the gate remotely from the office. There was no apology. He didn't withdraw his belief that the division should have changed once the plant became valuable. He had only lost the ability to make that belief sound like ownership. Joshua remained by the folding table. I followed him, he said. Lily waited. At the estate meeting, with the salvage company, with the complaint, even when I didn't make the call. You gave him information. Yes. You let him use your name on the proposal. I didn't stop him fast enough. No. Joshua nodded. I was afraid of the plant. Then I was afraid you had more than me. I kept calling both things fairness. Monica closed the ledger. Sean looked toward the production floor, giving the conversation what privacy he could without leaving. I'm sorry, Joshua said. Lily rested her hand on the back of the chair. I believe you. He looked relieved too soon. That doesn't fix it, she said. His relief faded. I know. You don't get a key. You don't get contract details because you ask. You don't speak for me to Travis, the cooperative, or anyone else, all right? If you want to visit, you call. I will. And if Travis sends something with your name on it, you correct it in writing. Joshua looked toward the locked file cabinet. I can do that now. He sat down and opened his phone. In front of Lily, he wrote to Travis that he did not claim an ownership interest in Canal Street and did not authorize the shared sale proposal. Then he sent a separate message to the cooperative's purchasing office. He stated that Travis's complaint came from Travis alone. Joshua had no evidence Sean concealed payments or influenced the site process. He attached no family argument and asked for nothing. Lily read it before he sent it. That helps Sean, she said. It should have been done before. Yes. Joshua put away his phone. Can I come back to finish the dock rail? Call tomorrow. He accepted the answer and left through the green door. Lily locked it behind him. Monica remained until the test papers were copied and stored. She put the original maintenance ledger back in her canvas bag. You handled that better than James would have, she said. What would he have done? Thrown the key into the canal and regretted it by supper. Lily laughed, tired enough that it came out uneven. The cooperative called before noon the next day. Its review had closed. Sean had disclosed his outside work, kept separate records, and taken no part in the final purchasing decision. The complaint would remain in the file with the response, but no disciplinary action was taken. The site proposal could move forward. Lily sat at the folding table with Caleb's verified test sheet in front of her, while the purchasing representative explained the next step. The cooperative would issue a final contract subject to the cold room reaching operating temperature and passing its food storage inspection. The annual payment remained $96,000. The agreement included refrigerated storage and a scheduled supply of bagged ice once Lily restored the production side. Storage would begin first. Ice production had a later deadline. Lily asked about the alternate site. It remains a backup until your temperature test passes, the representative said. We can't leave our growers without capacity. I understand. If Canal Street misses the opening date, we move the storage work. The moving gauge had proved the service. It had not removed the deadline. The contract arrived that afternoon. Lily printed it, but didn't sign immediately. She read it with Monica at the folding table. Monica checked payment dates, insurance requirements, utility responsibilities, and the clause allowing the cooperative to leave if temperatures failed repeatedly. This one needs a cure period, Monica said. A what? Time to correct a failure before they cancel? Lily requested the change. The cooperative agreed to a reasonable correction period, provided food safety was protected. Then Lily signed. The contract payments wouldn't begin until the room passed inspection and received its first stored load. Loan payments began regardless. Lily placed the signed contract in the file cabinet beside the test sheet. She sent Travis and Joshua one message. The utility verification is complete. The cooperative contract is signed. It belongs to Fletcher Ice Cold Rooms under my deed. No ownership or sale discussion remains open. She attached the signature page showing the plant as contractor and herself as owner. She did not send the payment schedule. Joshua replied first. Understood. Travis responded an hour later. You wouldn't have that contract without family property. Lily didn't answer. That evening, he arrived without calling. The gate was locked. Lily met him on the other side. You received my message, she said. I want to see the contract. No. You showed Joshua? I sent both of you the same page. I want the terms. They're private. Travis gripped the chain link with one hand. You're shutting us out of something Grandpa built. You wanted it demolished. That was before. Yes. He looked past her. The new service room lights shone through one small window. Sean was inside checking the pump after the test. I could help you sell it, Travis said. That's what I do well. I'm not selling. $1,600,000 is an estimate, not cash. I know. You could clear the loan, buy a real house, and never work another cold night in this place. That isn't what I'm building. You think Grandpa wanted you living above a loading dock? I don't know what he pictured. Then why are you making this sacred? I'm making it useful. Travis released the fence. If it fails, don't call me. Lily looked at him. I haven't called you for help once. He had no answer that didn't expose the emptiness of his threat. He returned to his car. Lily didn't open the gate. For several days after that, Travis said nothing. He didn't apologize, clarify the complaint, or offer to pay any cost. He also stopped demanding records. His claim had ended where the deed and utility ledger met, even if his resentment had not. Joshua called the next morning before coming. He finished the loading dock rail under Sean's direction, then asked what else needed doing. Nothing today, Lily said. He looked disappointed but packed his tools. Repair, Lily decided, would include hearing no without turning it into rejection. Sean returned to paid work under the written recusal terms. His first task was not the main refrigeration system. It was training Lily to respond if the circulation pump lost pressure. You'll be here more than I will, he said, for now, for as long as you own it. He made her stop and restart the loop twice. On the third attempt, she found the partly closed return valve before he pointed it out. That would have starved the pump, she said. Yes? Did you set it that way? Yes, that's mean. That's training. She opened it fully and restarted the sequence. Pressure settled where it should. Monica agreed to handle the plant accounts one morning each week. One morning, she said, I am retired. I'll pay you. You will. On time. Lily moved the folding table into the cleaned loading office and bought Monica a chair that didn't wobble. Monica complained that it cost too much, then adjusted it to the exact height she wanted. The remaining work was still heavy. The main cold room needed sealed seams, new temperature controls, and a refrigeration unit tied safely into the restored service. The caretaker room still had no reliable heat. The second cold room remained closed. Lily's first loan payment came out of the business account before any contract money entered it. She watched the balance fall, closed the banking screen, and went downstairs. Sean was waiting beside the old refrigeration controls with a replacement temperature sensor in his hand. Ready? He asked. Lily picked up the installation sheet. Show me where it goes. Lily held the sensor against the marked section of wall, while Sean checked the height. 6 inches lower, he said. The drawing says here. The drawing assumes the rack doesn't block the airflow. She moved it down. They mounted the sensor, ran its cable through a sealed conduit, and connected it to a new temperature controller outside the cold room. The controller used the restored industrial service, but it remained separate from the old demand gauge. The refrigeration unit started with a hard vibration. Sean shut it down. What happened? Lily asked. Mounting bolt is loose. It sounded worse than that. Loose things, like attention. He replaced the worn mounting pad, tightened all 4 bolts, and tried again. The unit settled into a steady mechanical sound. Cool air entered the room through the upper vents. Lily placed 3 calibrated temperature loggers at different heights. The cooperative required the room to hold its target temperature through a full operating cycle with the door closed, then recover after the door opened for a simulated delivery. They began the test on a Thursday afternoon. By midnight, the room was cold enough. Lily recorded the readings and slept upstairs in her coat. At 3 in the morning, a logger alarm woke her. One corner of the room had warmed. She called Sean, then stopped before the call connected. He had taught her what to check. The refrigeration unit was running. The door seal was tight. Airflow from one ceiling vent felt weak. Lily found a strip of old insulation that had shifted behind the vent cover. She shut the unit down, removed the cover, secured the insulation, and restarted the system. The corner temperature began to fall. She sent Sean a message with the readings and went back upstairs. He arrived at 6. "You fixed it without me," he said. "I called you. You hung up. I knew the sequence." He checked her work and signed the correction in the test record. The room held its temperature through the rest of the day. During the door-opening test, Joshua helped move empty pallets through the loading path. He arrived after calling and stayed only in the areas Lily assigned. When the temperature recovered inside the allowed time, the cooperative inspector signed the room approval. 2 days later, a refrigerated truck backed against the dock. Lily stood beside the repaired rail while the driver opened the rear doors. Crates of apples, greens, mushrooms, and bottled cider filled the truck. The cooperative had sent only a partial first load in case the room failed. It didn't. Sean checked the controller while Lily guided the pallets into marked rows. The concrete floor carried the weight. The drain stayed clear. Cold air returned around the stacked produce exactly as the airflow plan required. The driver handed Lily the delivery record. "Where do I sign?" she asked. "Right there." Facility owner. She signed and kept the yellow copy. That night, the first contract payment became due. Lily didn't spend it. Monica moved the loan payment, insurance amount, utility reserve, and repair fund into separate columns before allowing $1 into general operations. "You're no fun," Lily said. "I'm wonderful. The numbers are no fun." Monica worked every Wednesday morning. She arrived with her thermos, adjusted her chair, and corrected anything Lily had put in the wrong account. The work gave her a reason to visit without turning James's records into a shrine. When a maintenance entry was needed, she opened the old ledger, found the relevant detail, and closed it again. Sean became the plant's machinery supervisor after the cooperative confirmed his recusal no longer conflicted with the signed contract. He kept his cooperative job and worked scheduled hours at Canal Street until the business could support more. He trained Lily on every system he restored. They brought the public ice line back one section at a time. The first machine failed because a water valve wouldn't seat. The second test produced cloudy ice that couldn't be sold. Sean adjusted the filtration and made Lily repeat the sanitation procedure. On the third run, clear ice dropped into the collection bin. Lily scooped it into a plain bag, sealed the top, and wrote the date by hand. She placed that first bag in the caretaker freezer rather than selling it. The next batch passed inspection. A small sign went up beside the loading gate. Public ice. Weekdays, 7 to 5. The first customer was a nearby food business that needed 12 bags after its own machine failed. Lily loaded the bags onto a cart and wrote the sale in Monica's ledger. By summer, the loading floor had a regular rhythm. Cooperative deliveries came early. Growers collected empty crates in the afternoon. Local kitchens bought ice through the side entrance without crossing the storage path. The plant didn't become easy. A control relay failed during a hot week. A roof drain clogged during a storm. The loan payment remained large, and the utility reserve grew slowly. But problems arrived inside a working place now. They had names, tools, and people responsible for them. The caretaker rooms changed more gradually. Lily repaired the plumbing first. Then came safe outlets, radiator service, sealed windows, and cabinets that closed properly. She painted the bedroom herself, using the brushes she had returned to the hardware shelf months earlier. The blue enamel cup stayed on the kitchen windowsill. Joshua helped install the final cabinet door. It was his 5th visit since the test, and he had called before each one. When they finished, he packed his drill without asking what came next. "Coffee?" Lily said. He looked surprised. "If you have time." She poured 2 cups. They sat by the caretaker window, overlooking the loading floor. Joshua watched Sean check a pump reading below. "Travis asked if he can come to the public opening," he said. "He can come through the public entrance. I told him that." "What did he say?" "He said he shouldn't need permission." Lily drank her coffee. Joshua continued. "I told him everyone needs permission outside business hours. Thank you. He may not come. That's his choice." Joshua didn't ask her to make it easier. On opening day, Travis did come. He arrived near closing after the cooperative trucks had gone. He walked through the public entrance and stopped at the counter rather than trying the green service door. The plant looked different from the place he had photographed through the fence. The loading floor was clean and marked. Cold room temperatures showed on a monitor beside the office. Fresh bags of ice stood in a freezer near the pickup door. Travis set cash on the counter. 4 bags. Lily rang up the sale. "You don't need 4 bags," Joshua said from the loading rail. "I'm having people over. No one asked who." Lily loaded the bags onto a cart. Travis looked toward the service corridor. "Is the old equipment still in there?" "Yes." "And the gauge?" "Yes." He waited for her to offer more. She didn't. At his car, he lifted the bags into the trunk. Then he returned the cart to the marked place. "You fixed the roof," he said. "Enough of it." "It looks good." "Thank you." That was all he gave, and all she accepted. He still didn't apologize. He didn't admit that he had called Sean's employer to force a transfer. He didn't ask what the complaint had cost. Lily didn't mistake a purchase and 1 civil sentence for restored trust. He left through the same entrance every other customer used. Joshua stayed to stack the carts. He didn't explain Travis or ask Lily to forgive him. When the work was done, he called before coming the next week. By early autumn, the second cold room opened. Its first use was for overflow from nearby growers during a warm harvest. Lily stood on the loading floor, directing pallets, while Sean monitored the compressors and Monica checked delivery records. The old plant no longer needed anyone to invent a reason for keeping it. It kept food cold. It supplied ice. It paid wages, loan installments, taxes, and the standby charges James had refused to surrender. It gave Lily work that belonged to her, and rooms where no one could hand her a key as if it were a burden. If stories about young people rebuilding a life after family betrayal matter to you, subscribe and return for the next inheritance story. After the last pickup one evening, Lily shut the public entrance and walked the floor with Sean. The circulation pressure was normal. Both cold rooms held temperature. The service room floor was dry. "You're done," Sean said. "For tonight?" He left through the green door and locked it behind him. Monica's Wednesday ledger waited on the office desk. Joshua's next visit was written on the calendar, with a question mark, because Lily hadn't confirmed it yet. Travis had no key and no promise beyond the public door. Lily turned off the loading office lights, leaving the work floor lamps on for the night crew, arriving before dawn. Upstairs, the radiator warmed the caretaker rooms. Her kettle clicked off in the kitchen. She poured water over coffee in James's blue cup and opened the cleaned window a few inches. Below, the circulation pump carried its quiet load through the restored brine line. The cold rooms held steady behind sealed doors. In the service room, the old needle rested at the evening demand mark. Lily stood at the caretaker room window above the humming work floor, while the old gauge held steady and warm light filled the plant.